I think it's my back, my armor that I'm carrying.
Yeah, I had to go through my inventory and like figure out what I actually would have on me.
Yeah, well, you can just put brackets around things, like we said before, what would be in your backpack, and then at the start of encounters, you can just be like, I dropped my backpack.
Well, because usually I wouldn't like get rid of things in my inventory because I'd be like, well, there's no reason I should get rid of it. But now it's like, okay, I need to not be encumbered, so I have full movement. I don't really need 5 daggers. I just need 1, just in case.
How
So I'm
heavy
gonna
is a
get rid
cask
of.
of ale?
Sorry.
Is that how heavy a cask of ale is?
A cask of ale.
I think we've drank in like half of it at least.
It's about 5 pounds per gallon.
How many gallons?
I'm sorry, 10 pounds. 10 pounds per gallon, which is the same as 1 kilo per liter, roughly.
Cask size, 1 pound per. Wait, 5 pounds per gallon?
It should be 2 pounds, 5 pounds. It should be 10 pounds per gallon. Yeah, 10 pounds per gallon.
The thing is, a cask. It doesn't have cask. A cask is a barrel, right? Or is it a rundlet?
Don't know how big these things are.
Cask, barrels, hogs.
I only know science. That's all. I don't know D&D rules.
Cask is
like
the
a
blanket
hogshead.
term. Cask is the blanket term for all of them. I guess.
And quickly, on the matter of carrying multiple daggers, there's actually a really good reason to carry more than one dagger that a lot of people seem to forget.
You throw them.
Yeah, in the early levels, before you get multi-attack, you can only get like 2 attacks in a round, unless you're like a monk or something special. If you're using light weapons, daggers are thrown and they're light, so you can throw daggers and then throw another one as a bonus action.
Oh, okay.
What? Yeah. You can throw 3 daggers when you get extra attack.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I've had characters around that. It's particularly something I do with wizards, actually.
The dart, you can throw multiple darts considered light?
Yeah. Surely they are. Surely.
Light finesse, aren't they?
Well, it's a ranged weapon, so it's automatically dex, but...
Yeah.
Oh, you just reminded me of what I wanted to do with Hero before that Waterdeep game fell through.
Yeah.
I wanted to take Great Weapon, not Great Weapon, Sharpshooter on a character that exclusively uses darts.
Well,
so
yeah.
Interesting.
10 damage.
It says it can only be used on ranged weapons, right? Darts are considered only a ranged weapon, but they have the thrown property, so which is really weird, because there are melee weapons with the thrown property, which sort of suggests that you can kind of use it as a melee weapon.
Maybe as an improvised melee weapon, but that'd be all.
Yeah.
I mean,
not like that.
yeah. I mean, it'd be the same damage.
According to the rules.
Yeah, now I wanted to do that with like a monk or a rogue. Actually, that'd be a really good rogue.
It would be a sick rogue.
Sneak attack plus sharpshooter on a D4 damage dart. So you're throwing these little darts that are meant to do no damage, but you end up doing like fucking 30 damage in it.
Yeah, that'd be nasty. Well, like, you just like throw it right in their nerves.
Yeah, you just hitting them like in eyes and really, real fucking
ninja shit.
Yeah, for sure.
To kill, you just like throw it down their throat and they choke on it and die. It goes right up their nose, right into the brain.
And then what you could, if you can, if you get a artificer in your party, you can get him to put the returning infusion on your darts, so they return to you afterwards. If it's like a pack of darts, maybe you can infuse it, but I'm not sure if that would work.
So a quarter cask is 45 to 50 liters, which is how many gallons?
It wouldn't have it written in liters, would it? Surely.
2 gallons. I'm looking. I'm googling it.
Okay,
I'm not looking on because I don't think there's like. So that's 11.
4.4 liters to a gallon. Yeah.
That's 11 gallons. Or 12 if you round up. So 12 gallons. And how many pounds per gallon? 5. So, and I've probably drank half of it.
That includes including the barrel, and that's just sort of all rounded off.
So it'd be 30 pounds because we've drinking at least half the cask. 30 pound, and how it's a relatively small cask, so how heavy would the wood of it itself be?
I just factored that that £10 for a gallon. I factored the barrel in for that because it's actually more like about 9.2 pounds or 0.8.
Oh, 10 pounds a gallon. I was doing 5, so it'd be 60 pounds.
Yeah, £10 a gallon.
Oof. I mean, I wouldn't be heavily encumbered, but I could strap it to my backpack, I guess.
It's not something you'll keep carrying when a battle breaks out.
Definitely not. It'll just roll. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna strap it to the top of my backpack, so I have like the backpack underneath and this big fucking gallon cask just like strapped on top of it. I'll write half empty cask
Yeah.
because I shared it around at the whatchamacalls it's with the what are they called? I don't know.
Pistani?
Yeah, that's the one.
Scum.
I good.
Trash.
Yeah, I've figured out their real life equivalent without the gypsy word, Romani.
Yeah. But like, I argue that the Vistani aren't based off the historical Romani, but rather off the gypsy stereotype in the first
Yeah.
place. That's my sort of take, and I know that's a politically incorrect statement.
Yeah.
But that's how I
Yeah.
look at it. Like, they're not actually based off any particular ethnic group, but rather a golden age of Hollywood version of
Yeah.
people who wear fucking bangles and headscarves and shit.
Hey,
I
hey,
don't,
hey!
I
This
don't
is
think
fifth
that's the
edition. It's
politically
progressive.
incorrect way
It
of
is.
putting it at all. I think that's spot on what it's based on, because there are still differences between the Romani and the Gypsy and the Vistani, but the Vistani are very much the Hollywood stereotype.
They are
Mm.
movie gypsies.
They're movie gypsies, unapologetically.
What I immediately thought of was, has anyone seen the Sherlock Holmes movies?
I think I've seen
Yeah.
like
Yes.
one of them.
The Robert Downey Jr. ones.
Yeah, those ones.
Nah, I haven't seen those.
Oh, he gets basically he gets not kidnapped by these gypsies, but like he goes to them and like he works with them. But yeah, they all live in like these like tents, and they basically steal whatever he's wearing at the time and wear it themselves, and like they all kind of just take shit and leave and then piss
Yeah,
off, and they're all
Hollywood.
scunges.
Hollywood gypsies.
Yeah, that's what I imagine them like.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Crystal
Right.
balls and caravans.
Yeah. I only have to not carry 3 things into battle. I can carry everything else.
Weeaboo.
Yes.
Sorry, I should say penguin. That sounds offensive.
Penguin's too long too. Can we? Is there something shorter we can say?
Pingu!
Pingu.
That's
Yeah,
good.
Do you
yeah.
think a guy with the
You
screen
can call
name
me
Weeaboo
Matt,
is going to
you'll
get
probably
offended at
confuse
calling him
Arctic.
Weeaboo?
Because
Yeah.
Arctic is Matt. That's
Yeah.
alright. I only refer to Arctic as Arctic anyway.
And yeah, hang on though. I've literally put it ironically in my name. You really think I'm gonna get offended if someone calls me Weeaboo?
It just feels
like-
weird calling something like a weeaboo. Like just yeah. Just
Both
a
those
quick
words
out
are too long. Too many whatchamacalls it's for me.
Pengu.
Just use Sven then in this game. I think
My
Sven.
Australian nature wants to shorten everything.
Everything. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's compulsory. It's like I've never called Neo anything other than just Neo. It's not Neolith. It's just Neo.
It's offensive to refer to someone with more than 2 syllables.
Yeah, it just shows unfamiliarity.
Yeah.
I was gonna for the artificer, my second level ability where I get my infusions. I'm tossing up between enhanced weapon, which just gives you a +1 bonus to attack
And it's
damage and
magical.
rolls, and it's magical. But I was considering because Sven uses a spear mostly. I was gonna actually give him. I was
Thrown
gonna
weapon,
instead of take
return.
that returning weapon, so that you can throw it and it'll return to you immediately instead of the +1 damage and hit. Or do you think it'd be better if I just take the +1 damage and to hit?
The thing is,
Um,
magic damage, the making it magic bypasses resistances that a decent amount of things I think in this setting would be resistant to non-magic weapons.
Let me just see if returning weapon makes it magical.
look, before any of that, like in character, Sven would be, oh sure, that's great. But mechanically, you need to consider I'm a I'm a Hexblade. Next level, I'm gonna be doing all of that myself. Once I get packed to the blade, I'll have my own returning weapon. It'll already have a +1.
Okay.
If you get returning weapon as a Eldritch Knight, that'd be sick.
You do.
You do? No, is it bonus action to recall it?
I think
so.
I think
Or
it might be. I think it might be something like that. Yeah.
If it's an action,
I
it's pathetic. If it's a bonus action, yeah, cool.
It should be bonus.
I think it's a bonus action. I'm not familiar with the fighter stuff, but I do know Eldritch Knights can do that, and I believe it is a bonus action because the very first game I DM'd had an Eldritch Knight in it, and oh my god, he
I
drove
like
me up the wall
Knight.
more than the speed bus.
Why is that? Is it because of the class, or is it just because him?
Because the party gave him the magic items that increased AC every time he had it, and he saved his spell slots almost exclusively for the shield spell.
Nice.
It'd come
Cheesy, but
around to
good.
combat encounters, and he'd built his character around being like a tanky fella that helps the party out, takes hits for everyone. And so the rest of the party is like, oh yeah, I got 14 AC. Oh yeah, that's not bad. I got 17. And then he's like, oh, he attacks me? Yeah, sorry, you're not going to hit my 26 AC.
26. Oh, because of
Wow.
shield, yeah.
So 18 plus if it's a magic plate, 19 shield plus 2 if it's a magic shield plus
Okay.
1.
Then shield spell.
Then a necklace of protection or whatever, ring of protection plus 1. Cloak of protection. Can you benefit from cloak and amulet or ring?
I think as long as you got the attunement slots, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. But
Yeah.
I don't know that for certain, but I think so.
So I guess the total magic bonus would be like +4 or +5 if you really like min-max that shit. And then like so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 base. And then
Wow.
if you have the protection fighting style, 25. And
Yeah.
then yeah.
At that point, it's just a numbers game. Yeah.
And then use shield to get up to 29. And then
Yeah,
divine protect
Oh god.
And then,
It
yeah,
was
Shield of Faith
31.
+2 again. You know,
Yeah,
like
And
you,
then you
was
get
pretty
adamantine armor,
ridiculous.
so you're immune to criticals.
He had adamantine armor.
oh
had
god.
He had it. This was in a West Marches game, and one of the other DMs, because when they reached like level 8, one of the other DMs ran a game because this was in West Marches, and they got an adamantine set of armor during the quest, and there were 2 people that could have used it, and everyone's in there conspiring after the game, like, who gets this, and then everyone's like, maybe we should give it to the Eldritch Knight. And I was in there when they're planning. I'm like, don't you fucking dare. And they're like, no, we'll give it to the Eldritch Knight. And I'm like, fuck.
So they're completely power gaming this one player. That's amazing. I really want to be in a game like that where you just like support one dude and he just like is like
Oh god.
the beefiest motherfucker in the
The
world.
prophet. That should be the prophet.
The funny thing
Yeah.
is,
The prophet, yeah.
everyone was new players, but this guy had it out with that character that he always wanted to be like the hero that's defending everyone. So he was actually pretty good at playing a playstyle where he would not hesitate one bit to put his character in danger to save someone else's character.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And because of that, most of the party owed their characters' lives to him because he had lots of
Interesting.
HP, lots of AC. He'd be the one that, oh yeah, I shove them back and charge in myself. So the rest of the party's like, oh, you know, he does all this stuff to save our characters. Let's just pile all of the defensive items on him.
When I first started playing, I probably wouldn't have liked to play with people like that. But now I'm like, I'm 100% on board with the idea of just being the supporting cast.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. It's a really fun dynamic.
Everyone was unique in that party, and I don't think
Yeah.
supporting cast is the best way to put
Oh
it.
yeah, I know. Obviously, it wasn't completely like that, but I wouldn't even mind like being a character's like second in command to like something.
Yeah, but like that party, mind you, it's like wizard, bard, sorcerer, all this kind of thing. There was only one other person that could use
The 2 frontliners
heavy armor.
and everyone else's back
Yeah,
lines.
and even then, I can't remember what it was. I think it was the cleric, and even then, the cleric didn't like being on the front line. It's like most of the party was long range guys, so they were just spoiling the shit out of this guy that they
Mm.
were, ironically or unironically, just calling their meat shield. but they were going 120% in order to groom him as the meat shield.
He was the pet. He was the yeah.
The
He was
party's
the-
pet.
Yeah,
tank.
Yeah.
he's
They
the
spoiled him rotten.
yeah, for sure.
He was the pumpkin of their party.
Pumpkin.
You know,
Well, no, he never got abandoned. While
I'll
the
never
party
forget
went on
that
a
donkey.
voyage in a
Ooh.
carriage.
Ooh.
Rip,
ain't
I
that
take
rough?
100% responsibility for that.
what
My
happened?
bad.
What happened? What?
May I tell the story of the fate of Pumpkin?
I would be delighted.
Oh, pumpkin.
So basically, once we passed through the gates of this Transylvania
yeah.
fucking area, yeah, we like this big black coat. Were you here last
Yeah,
session?
I was here.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was
say
out of-
they're
I was out
explaining
of-
it.
Okay,
to...
my bad.
I was
thought
looking
you
at
were-
things. and I missed the conversation, and I thought like something in another game had happened where it was something bad happened.
Nah, we couldn't take her in the cart, so we abandoned
Yeah.
her.
We put her in the cart to begin with, though. She
Yeah.
managed-
But like, nah, this is not gonna work.
You know what? It's a
We
good
should
thing we
have
took
taken
her
her
out.
just to give a finger to that vampiric dick.
We would have gotten out of that gargoyle and dragon encounter without a scratch if we brought the pumpkin.
We could have legged it while
We've
they
gotta-
were chewing on it.
We've got to put the halfling on the back, charge it into battle.
Yeah.
I will 1000% ride Pumpkin into battle if we find her.
Try and get her barding made up and things. Oh, just no. We're getting too
Oh,
attached to this
yeah,
donkey.
yeah,
We're never
yeah,
going to see
yeah.
this donkey again.
I mean, we've got
No,
the perfect.
he's gonna survive, and the
material to
next
make
party's gonna find her.
Dragon skin armor for the fucking donkey.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
what I was
realised.
thinking.
We could
Uh,
all be support crew for a pumpkin.
Pumpkin's
Just be
that's it.
pumpkin.
Pumpkin
We
is the MacGuffin.
We go back to where
Adamantine
we've-
like talons on their hooves and stuff.
We go back to where we left Pumpkin. There's a pile of corpses all around her, and she's standing on top of them.
She's like wolf skulls on spikes.
Yeah, staked out an area. Like,
This
As a throw.
this is a slight tangent, but that comment about claws on Pumpkin's hoofs reminded me. Has anyone in here seen John Wick 3? How he uses horses in a
Yeah.
gunfight?
yeah, I've seen that.
I
That
love
was
when
crazy.
he like smacks on the ass and just kicks the dude in the face.
Kicks him in there. The moment that scene started, I remember thinking to myself, someone's getting kicked in the head. Like just a
Did he
hard.
like smack it multiple times and it just kicked multiple times?
I think
yeah,
so.
that's the thing. He
Yep.
does it. Because I only watched this last night. He does it once, and then a second guy charges at him, and so he does it twice to the next guy.
That's funny.
Because
No
I
horse behind
only
me
watched
making
that
this
last
film.
night. So when I was watching that scene, I'm like, oh my god, isn't this what we did with Pumpkin?
Pumpkin, kill these wolves, kick. Roll-
Djukovic,
Hmm.
you killed the raven, didn't you?
Yeah, I killed the raven.
You're the first to
You may roll D100.
Oh, you've doomed Pumpkin.
Spawns 3 werewolves. Rolling 1d100 werewolves.
Oh, it's alright. It's only 24.
Only
That's like-
24 werewolves. That's good.
Well, the thing is, we don't have to outrun them.
Yeah, we just have to outrun who's the slowest.
Probably me.
So it'd be
or
probably
No,
Sven.
the halfling with his 25-foot movement. 'cause
Me
we
or
don't have
Anton.
gas
Bastards.
anymore.
Just shoot out old Sven's knee. We'll be right.
Yeah, he wants to die, right? Like, there you go.
You do that, and we'll both be going down together because old Sven will be throwing a spear right
Yeah.
back. I'm happy to die, but you're fucking coming with me.
24 werewolves. Alright.
That's like half the amount we fought the other day.
Werewolves.
It's been an eventful day, but exactly how long the day has been is uncertain. We came through the gates, encountered the caravan, the wagon, the coach, is the correct term, and all of this happened early in the morning. We'd barely packed up our bonfire camp And we had begun to head west along the old Svalich Road when we went through these gates, and when we encountered the coach, of course, that was where we lost our first party member.
Pumpkin.
And yet, while there is regret in many hearts over this decision, if you recall the carriage ride itself, particularly as you crossed a bridge span so high that you couldn't possibly see what lay below and beneath the mists, you have to wonder what might have happened if there were more people on the roof, unsecured, if in a different world, in a different timeline. Of course, the coach led you directly past another set of gates, a western set of gates, if you will, and then up higher into the mountains towards an ancient castle. Its gates lay open, its torches lit, a drawbridge down, and so you crossed into it, past the gantry with its dragon statues, and past the foyer with its leering gargoyles, and following the sound of music, you went deeper into the legendary castle Ravenloft, which you can't possibly know yet that it is legendary, but in time your characters may come to realize the gravity of that choice. You followed the organ music into the dining room, where you found a banquet, and your host entertaining you at the organ, a massive pipe organ, playing with no small amount of skill. After some brief inquiry, perhaps all too brief, or perhaps far too long, your host was gone, whether through teleportation or illusion or otherwise, and you were left alone in the dining hall as the lights went out. Although fear crept in many hearts, you remained stalwart and true to each other, searching around the organ for some kind of secret passage, inspecting ancient suits of armor, which looked to be in remarkably good condition, freestanding. And then as you attempted to depart, violence, stone gargoyles sprang to life, and then dragons. To say you barely made it out with your lives would be incorrect, for your valiance carried you that day. Some of you were gravely injured, to be sure, but the battle in Castle Ravenloft was no whitewash. You held your own. If you needed any evidence, it lies at your feet, and you are now removing it from the flesh of a dragon. Now, what that means is it should be maybe midday, 1 p.m., perhaps, or 2, but the sky is darkening. You haven't seen the sun since you arrived, and the clouds are thick, racing across the sky as a cold wind begins to blow down from the north, from these impossibly tall mountains. The Balanox are very large mountains on either side, the north and south, and Barovia is a little forested valley nestled in between these massive ranges. Cold wind blows down, and the sky darkens, and your body clocks are telling you it's not nighttime, but the evidence seems to be contrary. It may take an hour for night to fall, but it's likely to be here far sooner. than when you feel like it should. Do you camp here? Or not? The dragon is, as I recall, not yet skinned. I think that you'd stopped here to begin the task, and then you saw the ravens, and one now lies dead.
Quick question: does the entire day, like day and night, still feel like a whole 24 hours?
Make an insight check. It was a very long night. You'd need to get more experience, perhaps.
Be here a bit longer.
Exactly.
It's kind of like the surrealness feeling of it.
Yeah, and with all the adrenaline that's been pumping through your bodies, you're hardly an experienced special forces soldier. You coping with this level of stress is abnormal for you, and for all of you, except perhaps Sven to some degree. But even he hasn't been through this sort of regular trauma in decades.
I think we better finish skinning this and break for the closest settlement.
Agreed.
Don't want to be lugging around everywhere.
This is gonna slow us down.
Aye. Someone give me a hand with it.
All right, let's do it.
I'll help you with it.
Cool.
I'll cast guidance on whoever is skinning it. I assume you might be Vorig, so
And I'd pass you the 8-ball in.
Double
wait, you said
guidance,
guidance.
doesn't matter.
Never mind. Sorry, I was listening to the right
If only it
spells.
could stack.
That's funny.
With advantage if someone's assisting me as well, or is it just flat roll like that?
You have advantage, yeah.
Hey, good, because I have +0.
Hey,
18 total.
18's pretty good, and your assistants do most of the work. But after about an hour, you manage to remove the skin from this thing successfully and clean it, get rid of the fat. And you don't have any salt or anything to preserve it with. So these are imperfect conditions, but you've got the skin.
I wrap it up and put it and wrap it up inside my dead man's coat that I have, so it doesn't get too wet.
Excellent, excellent. And by now, the bats are beginning to fly, and they pour out of the castle. And they begin to fly over by the hundreds, and then perhaps even by the thousand. Wolves begin to howl.
this place is just full of bad omens.
Can you switch us to the overhead map?
Sure can.
Thank you.
We've had bad omens ever since this fog set in.
Crows, fog, eccentric wizards.
I would really like to sleep inside a house tonight.
I don't want to deal with more wolves.
Wouldn't we all?
Well, shall we make our way? We saw a smaller village on the way through in the carriage. Maybe we could stop there.
Aye.
It's the last place that I think I can recall that I saw anything settled.
I think we passed over the same river twice as well, so we could possibly get to this river, then follow it down to the first bridge.
Alright.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's get a moving back the way we came then.
Are we just leaving this dragon's corpse here?
No, I'm not carrying it any further.
Yeah, I know.
It's a bit heavy.
Is there anything else that we could take from it?
Oh, I took claws and teeth
okay.
from it earlier.
Sweet.
How
If
many
it's-
did I get of that?
Make your survival check for that as well. If you
Cool.
didn't make it already, yeah.
I don't think I did.
While he's taking it. Sorry.
You hurt yourself. You removed 0 teeth, and suffer 3 points of slashing damage as you try to wrench out its fangs with your bare hands.
Cut my hand open a little bit.
Exactly.
A little bit, actually. That's 3 damage.
While he was gutting it and skinning it and kind of dissecting it, could Dukovic kind of just study it and see if he can understand a bit how it breathes fire?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Make a medicine check with advantage as you do your autopsy.
Medicine. Can I give myself guidance in that?
Yeah, you should really say it beforehand, but go ahead.
On the spell, it does say before or after the
Oh, does
You
it?
have to cast
Yeah.
it beforehand, though.
Oh, do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
It's a cast
Oh.
it lasts 1 minute cast, and then you can use it on any check within that 1 minute.
Right. Okay. My bad. No, that's right.
Yeah.
It's that's fine. I won't use it then.
It's not like a
Alright.
reactionary thing. It's a
Yeah,
preparation.
there's nothing to indicate, although it does seem to be based around superheated gas.
Fart box.
I missed that cart. I'm gonna have to
I
lug
missed that donkey.
I'm gonna have to lug this fucking bag around.
They can carry it for you.
Do you want to?
How much is in there?
Well, I'd say there'd be about 25 pounds of equipment.
No worries. I'll carry it then as well. I'm a strong man.
As you
Thank-
begin to pack
thanks,
up the
Furry.
camp, as you begin to pack up the camp and prepare to make departures, and taking your toilet breaks essentially before you head onto the road, Djukovic, you come across a pile of scattered stones, and within the center of these scattered stones is a hole. Hole's about maybe 5 feet long and 2 or 3 feet wide and about 3 or 4 feet deep.
Does it seem to resemble a grave?
Make a investigation roll.
Okay. Investigation.
That's exactly what it seems to be. It looks like someone dug a relatively shallow and either uncomfortable grave or a grave for someone quite small, and then piled it over with rocks. But it's not a grave anymore. It's a hole.
Guys, just come over here for a second. Just I want to look into this. And only after someone's joined him, he'll go over and he's gonna see if there's any like sign of a magical or necrotic energy that would suggest that it was raised undead.
Who else is here?
I'll head over.
Alright, you see the same thing, and then you're likely to recognize a can or a grave immediately.
Sorry, just to clarify, is this while we're skinning that thing or afterward?
It's-
Like, are we
you've
back on the road?
It's all done. You're about to head off. You're taking a piss, and Djukovic pisses all over somebody's grave.
Can I make a check to see if it's like there's claw marks to say it was clawed out, or like that something
Yeah.
tried to dig its way out of it?
With an investigation of 11 and that specific question, your inquiries lead you to believe yes. This earth was disturbed from beneath. The rocks were thrown off, and well, I'll let you imagine the rest.
He like pinches a little bit of the dirt, rubs it between his fingers, and looks up at everyone. We should be careful of undead. It seems things aren't exactly staying asleep down here.
And to sleep we shall return them if they bother us.
Yes, but we don't know how many there are.
Just one. Look, it's only one can.
I guess. Djukovic will stand back up and kind of herd his way into the middle of the party again.
We'll be fine. Let's just stick together and try and make it to that village.
Alright.
Can I make it just before we bounce? Can I make a perception check to try and hear like anything in our kind of surroundings?
Absolutely.
Oh,
So many bats. So many
Yeah,
bats
okay.
and a number of wolves. The wolves don't sound. They don't sound close, but they don't sound far. This is a relatively small valley, only a span of maybe 30 miles across from what you could see, and maybe even smaller than that. And so having wolves howl within that vicinity um, means that they are relatively close, even if they're quite far away. So lots of wolves,
Mm.
lots of bats, the creaking and groaning of trees. And you know what? Up ahead, on the road that you are just about to set off in the direction of, you think you hear the whinnying and the stamping of one or more large horses.
damn, it's not medium sized.
So the sound, it doesn't sound like they're traveling. Rather, they're kind of just like stamping around on the spot.
Correct. Much
Yeah,
like a
okay.
racehorse might be before being let out of the gate.
Okay. I'll like mention that to the party. You know, it sounds like horses up ahead, not traveling. Um, yeah, a little bit further down. Let's go check it out.
Right. Do we move one hex?
You may move one hex.
Was
And
Reese
Sven, you can roll 1d10
rolling 1d10 werewolves?
for Sven.
Oh, wow.
1d120.
You've chose the high road.
Alright. Elenway, you may move it one square in any direction and then roll a d10.
Okay.
Alright.
This music.
You have you can see up ahead as you. So we just went past a massive set of gates. These gates match the ones we came through originally, except the backs are turned to us this time. The gates are open, and thus could be travelled through with ease. But you've elected not to go that way. You go along somewhat familiar roads, and you can see up ahead a large black carriage. It seems to be pulled by four massive stallions, black stallions, as dark as midnight. And those horses are whinnying and champing at the bit and preparing to rush, but the carriage remains stationary.
Does there appear to be a? So two questions: is there anyone on the front or top of the carriage, and does it
Negative.
look like the carriage that we entered on our way up?
Identical.
It's okay, sure. Kind of scowl, roll my eyes, and like point and say, let's not get in it this time.
I don't
whi-
want to go back.
Which direction is it facing?
It's facing you.
Yeah, okay, no, not getting in that again.
Alright. Vora, you may move the token one square unless you wish to jump in the carriage.
No, I'll jump over the carriage now.
Roll the d10.
Rolling d10 pumpkins.
Alright, Augustin, move the carriage whichever way you like and roll a d10, please. One d10, please, Augustin. There we
He was
go.
writing it down.
He was writing spooky skeletons. How right he was. Roll roll a d8 and a d12 together. Add the numbers together.
Crap.
Okay. So You hear a screech coming from above, and you notice that swarm of bats is coming back, and they seem to be flocking around you, almost like hawks do. And as they begin to circle around the party, as they gather, their numbers turn into a great mass. And before you know it, the sky is filled with this whirlwind of bats that is flying around above you. Um, just sort of intimidating you and blocking out some of the clouds that are already in the darkened sky. Occasionally they fly low enough to whack you in the face or go past you, but there are thousands of them above you, thousands.
Someone get a torch on to scare him off.
Kind of like raise my shield up to my face, like, what the fuck is this crap?
Just hold the flat of my greatsword in front of me as well.
So many bats. Why are there so many bats?
I'm thinking this is natural.
Unnatural.
Shouldn't have gone killing one of them.
It was a crow that we killed.
Something in a place like this.
Can Dukovic make I guess a nature check to see if like the bats are marking us for other entities?
Absolutely. Nature check, go ahead. That doesn't seem unrealistic. At the very least, they're marking you for each other. First, there was these bats flew out from the castle 10 minutes ago or more, half an hour ago perhaps, and they flew overhead by the 100, by the 1,000, in all directions. They just scattered from this castle by the tens of thousands. Several of them flew overhead, and then many of them came back, and they began to swirl around you, and that trickle became a storm, and that storm became a maelstrom, and now there are so many of them. And it would not be difficult to look out into the night sky and see this darkened blanket of bats in one particular area. It would be a terrifying beacon of dark.
I guess Dukovic would whoever was holding their shield like up above their head, I'd cast light. I'd open up my sphere that I will have and like smear some goop onto it, and it would start the shield would start emitting bright light.
The bats cause make them scream. The light causes the bats to scream and deeply aggravates them. It drives them away from you directly, but they go into a noisy frenzy, a cacophony that splits your ears.
How high up are the bats, roughly?
Oh, it's so difficult to tell. There are because there are 1,000 of them. They're everywhere between. I mean, they were at face level, but now they're more kind of staying out of the range of the light. So essentially, because we've got the light going, they're trying to stay out of that 60-foot radius. So somewhere between 60 feet and 600 feet.
All right. Well, just because it has a 30-foot range, Anton's gonna make a minor illusion of like a big ass fucking owl.
Oh yeah.
Hunt bats, and he's just gonna have it kind of like swooping in the air and like, lunging in any to get close.
All right. Let's roll for initiative.
Did you just challenge
Time to outsmart bats.
Do we just plonk down our tokens on this map?
Yeah. It really doesn't matter at all where you're standing because they are such a large swarm, You could be 60 feet away from your friend and still be bitten.
He plonked down a token. For some reason, I still can't.
Are you using like a trackpad?
Yep.
No, I'm using a mouse. I think it's something up with my web browser, or just I don't know. I'm
Maybe
working
it's
off
like
of
when you're dragging it over the scroll bar. What kind of browser are you using?
Chrome.
No, interesting. I don't know. That's weird. Mouse OP. All lining up. Stack them up.
So, you create this illusion of the owl, and the bats take it as prey, not as a threat, but as prey. And they just dive bomb it and start shredding it to pieces with their fangs and with the claws on the end of their wings, snapping and biting and fighting among each other. And as described, there are countless bats. They number in the hundreds. There may be as many as 1,000. They're trying to stay outside of that 60-foot light range, but they've come into it specifically to attack the owl. So the party can at this stage just run. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You're not surrounded by bats, and you're going to get like 8 attacks of opportunity each or anything like that. You can run at this point. Because they haven't really engaged you, they've just destroyed the illusion. But that has agitated them. The light, the illusion, the numbers of you, and they're not afraid. Are you? What do you do, Sven?
Sven's kind of taking a low stance, holding his spear up. It's like, the fuck are we meant to do against these things? I think we should get out of here. I'll take the dodge action.
Augustin.
I guess since Sven is dodging, then fuck it, I'll hoof it.
All right.
I'll movement, action dash, bonus action dash.
Alenway, we're running.
I'm gonna go. I'll hold my action to cast Sacred Flame if anyone gets attacked, and I will move 30 feet in the direction we're traveling.
Alright. Your glowing sacred flame agitates the bats further, and they look at you with their red eyes as if you should be their prime target. Djukovic.
Dukovic. He's just gonna hold. Yeah, he's gonna hold his light crossbow, and if waiting for any bats to attack. If a bat attacks, he'll try and pin as many as he can with his arrow, but keep running while he's waiting
Yeah.
with everyone
Alright.
else.
The swarm of bats destroy the illusion. Vorek.
Yeah, I'll just try and keep up with everyone. I use my dash to keep up because I'm currently at 15 feet movement, I think.
Alright. You're currently coming second, I think. Anton. Maybe third.
Question. You said these bats are a swarm. Do they count as a singular creature for the purpose of a spell?
Make an insight check. As this is free action, so just
Halfling luck.
Klingler.
Oh
Shit.
At least one swarm.
Yeah, fuck it. Double action. Run for it.
Alright. Sven, they're leaving you behind.
I shall then dash to chase after
Or-
him.
Actually, bonus action. I'm sorry, I hate to backtrack.
Yeah.
Can I make another owl illusion?
Yeah, sure. They go
Bonus
for
action.
it. Your bait works, and the party escapes on a technical level, but you are being pursued. These bats are faster than you, more mobile than you. They don't have to go through the winds and twists of the road like you do. We'll might move your tokens just
Along.
exactly somewhere that's not near here. And who was that did the last move?
Me, Augustine.
I thought it might have been Dukovic. Move the token any direction, 1 square. You have bats on your trap.
Batman.
If I'm looking over, down towards this hill, like how steep is it?
Oh, pretty steep and pretty forested, but not impassable by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, it's rough country. But a horse could make it up it, for example. You don't have to climb on your hands and knees. It's not that sort of steepness.
Okay.
Yeah, goat country.
And if I have enough, could I make a free action to see if bats would run away from us if we got in the water? Like if they would try and stop pursuing us, like bees?
Yeah, sure, you can make a nature check.
Just a reminder, that's like 100 feet down or something.
Yeah, true. But we're going
1,000.
one hex, yeah.
1,000 feet, jeez.
Yeah, about 1,000. It's the closest thing we've got. With a 5, probably I wouldn't know for sure.
No, and these particular species of bats, who knows?
Nah, not worth it. He considers it, but nah, it's not worth. And I'll move to keep following the road along.
All right, roll a d10. All right. Anton, you may move the token any direction, 1 square, and roll a d10, please, sir. Beautiful. All right. So you've reached the river of you've reached the base of a canyon. There's a great waterfall spilling over clouds of cold mist, which sprays up against your face as you approach it quite hurriedly. These bats still on your trail, though seeming to disappear as if luck is on your side. There's a great stone bridge spanning this canyon, and the canyon seems to drop down 1,000 feet below, though you might not be able to see that in the darkness, but it just disappears off into nowhere. There's this mold encrusted stone bridge has gargoyles perched in black moss at the corners. Their frowns are weather worn, and the waterfall spills off over into the distance, feeding a river that shrouds the entire valley in fog.
Let's hope these ones don't come alive too, eh? Can we inspect them to see if they're slightly moving?
Yeah, sure. Perception check.
Keep my eyes peeled. Not very peeled, apparently.
Super
Anton.
peeled.
They appear to be old, crumbling, and moss-shrouded, as if they have not moved in years, and there is no sign that they are moving.
Wipes sweat off brow.
Hey, don't do that. Wipe your own brow.
Alright. Old Sven, is it your turn to move us forward?
Is it?
He's going along in the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I moved last.
Old Sven. Lenway. D10 and movement, please.
Sure. As we kind of cross to the other side of this bridge, so were we going to try and follow the river back up? I think, Augustine, you said something about crossing the river twice, right?
Unless you want to climb down 1,000 feet.
Yes, I forgot about the rather large drop.
Can we see that from up here?
Oh, good question. Let's have a look at the distances. It's a mile away. So the answer is yes. So I was about to explain it, but I'll explain it now. There is a small trail leading off from this direction, off into the forest. The main road that you're following is suitable for a carriage, but it winds and twists and careens. Whereas this is a goat track. Again, you could take horses, but you couldn't take a wagon. Not with any great ease, anyway. In the distance, along that trickling pool, upstream from where you are, away from the thundering falls that lie to your west, you can hear music. Castanets, lutes, whistles, tambourines. It sounds culturally similar to the Vistani you heard earlier.
Well, that was a good sound last time. I vote we go that direction.
I
Well,
follow
last
you,
time-
Comfort.
This time we woke up without some of our themes.
Maybe keep a closer hold of them.
Mm. Agreed. I mean, it could be Esmeralda's bunch again.
If we're gonna sleep there, maybe like put all your valuables in Augustine's chest and
Or maybe,
someone sleep on it.
yeah, maybe we just set a watch, like a watch, and I do like the inverted commas, kind of inverted apostrophe things in the air.
Do we want to go down there? Much closer than the town.
It would be quicker.
We know there are friendly people too, if not quick-fingered. Still.
Sorry, quick question. Have we shaken the bats?
Oh, that's a good question. You can make a perception.
Each of us?
Anton's the only one asked, but when you see him looking around, you could do the same, yeah.
I'd say Dukovic is too like keeping an eye on the bats behind us to even look at where everyone's looking.
Sure. So it's difficult to tell. There are still bats in the sky, but there's not some great blanketing swarm. You lost them before the bridge, it would seem. But they're still there, they're still everywhere. So are the wolves. You hear them howling.
All right.
But music.
I think we just go and yeah, I think we camp with them again, right? Strength in numbers. I don't want to be caught by another pack of wolves.
Hey, we weren't harassed last time we were with them.
No, they shared drink and food willingly. They're good company. Just, I don't know, nothing we've ever dealt with before.
All right, let's go on then. My turn to move, I think.
Alenways.
Send us down this way.
Alright. Roll a d10 Alenway.
Yeah, it was a 5.
It was a 5, cool. Alright, now it's, Vorik, d10.
Boop, and a d10. No pumpkin.
Tense. Augustin. One more. And 1d10. Alright. Alright. One moment.
We're set upon by badgers.
Maybe.
Uno momento.
30 to 50 feral badges.
Each time we roll a d10, that's how many
They're
feral
pack
badges we have
animals,
to
right?
fight.
I need to, I can do it from here.
I have no idea the parameters.
Okay.
We're so close to salvation.
You've made it.
Oh.
Nice.
The road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisted, muddy path that leads through the trees. There are deep ruts in the earth that are the evidence of the comings and the goings of wagons. the wagons that you see before you now. There's a canopy of mist and branches, and it suddenly gives way to black clouds boiling far above you. There is a clearing here next to a river that widens to form a small lake, several hundred feet across. Might be time to reveal this sector of the map. Yeah.
A victory tone plays.
The less darkness makes it so much more
Less
inviting.
ominous.
Yeah.
There's a clearing here next to a river that widens to form a small lake several hundred feet across. There are 5 round, colourful tents, each about 10 feet in diameter, and they're pitched outside a ring of 4 barrel-topped wagons. It's a much larger tent near the shore of the lake, its sagging form lit from within. And near this tent, there are 8 unbridled horses drinking from the river. There is an accordion, and its mournful strains, its cries clash with the singing of several brightly clad figures that are around a bonfire. Your arrival doesn't seem to really disturb them. There's a footpath that continues beyond this encampment, meandering back in the direction that presumably that you originally came from, winding between the river and the forest's edge. So you're probably maybe 300 feet away from the main area of the camp, but the dogs are already barking now. The horses have got their ears pointed up and they're looking off into the darkness, although you may be carrying torches, I imagine you, since you can't see in the dark, you're probably illuminated as you approach.
Anton's got a lantern.
I probably have a light spell going.
I'm gonna start pulling the bouquet of lilies that I received from Esmeralda's camp out of my hair and like kind of bundling them together again as we proceed.
Anton, maybe play a tune to show more friendly.
I think it's plenty musical enough.
Hey, join in. If you know the song.
Anton's gonna dig his fiddle out, I suppose, and
I'll hold your lantern.
yeah, he passes his lantern. Well, actually, if there's a light spell off, he's probably not using it. Way to make my gear obsolete, asshole.
Sells all items.
I spent exactly 0 gold on that thing. Anyway,
Sorry. Turns light off.
yeah, so Anton starts playing along with his fiddle, I guess.
Alright.
And, you know, when they get close enough, he's like, hello.
Hello. Welcome, come, sit down by the fire. Strange travelers from strange lands. Please, come. We have wine, if you have need to drink.
It's been a long day. Elenway accepts a drink of wine and sits down.
There are men and women here, a handful of children as well, although any that are younger than about 13 or 14 seem to be already packed up in the tents or in the wagons, peering out from within, while the adults drink and dance and play. You're very quiet. You are afraid?
Just a bit tired. We had a long journey.
It's been a long day.
Lay your bedrolls down by the fire. You can stretch out and make yourself at your home.
Hey, thank you. I've ale to share as well if you want.
Aye. He reaches out to grab it.
I have-
Pour some out.
I have these for you as well. They were a gift from Esmeralda's camp, and now for your hospitality, I give them to you, and I'll hand it, or try and hand over the bouquet of
Wait.
lilies.
You have already met with Esmeralda?
Yeah, and her father. That would have been, was it yesterday or the day before?
Hey, last night.
Hmm.
The Vistani look at
No, we
each
can't.
other. They're a little bit concerned. Their
2 nights ago.
glances dark.
Is
Something wrong.
Yeah, is there a problem?
What did she do?
Well, I
Did
think
you
she gave us a.
do anything with her?
Yeah, she offered to give us a card reading. I think she called it the Taroka. Yeah, and we accepted.
This was not foreseen, says one of the other Vistani. I am sure it was foreseen. You do not know everything, Pluto.
Kind of like glancing at the party, kind of nervously now. Like what's going on?
Are they some sort of renegade cousins?
Yes, something like that, yes. You should have nothing to do with Esmeralda. She is vain. She thinks herself powerful, but she is just a little girl.
Are her readings unreliable?
I don't know. But I would not trust anyone. Only Madame Eva truly has understandings of the ways of Taroka.
Hey, we were told about her.
Yeah.
Told to find her. Do you know where she is?
I believe I do. But I think she is sleeping right now. Perhaps we can drink, tell stories, get to know each other. An old woman will act on her own agenda.
She must be very busy.
Sleep takes up all your time, mate. Especially when you're old.
So tell me your story. You are foreigners, no? You come from the mist?
Aye, from a slumber haven.
All from the same place. You are a very unusual warband.
Not a war band. We left the town to contact someone that may know about the mists.
You are not a warband?
Hey, we protect
a
ourselves.
teacher.
Then what
He's
use
a
are
teacher.
you?
I can cast magic,
What sort of magic?
illusions, mockery, laughter.
You make
Cure
people
wound.
laugh. You are entertainer.
Sometimes.
There is man in Valaki. Maybe you should see him. He is a circus performer. Has monkey. Maybe you can do job together. Maybe you can entertain children for your profession. The men seem to laugh at this as if it's some private joke.
I'd rather like to get out of this fog first.
Then it is a shame that you are not a warband. For there is no way out. Ravini, there is. They do not want to know about that option. No, best to resign yourselves to your fate.
Are the and I'd like to make an insight check. Is this like another joke amongst the camp here?
Sure,
Are we being like goaded and like played with?
possibly. Good question. Hard to tell.
Hmm.
Rizzini, are you sure? I am sure. These people are not here to kick up hornets' nests. We do not need to give them any sort of false pretenses,
Could
if you say so.
do you know anything about the lord of that castle? He's a very eccentric one, so far as we know.
Yeah.
Eccentric. Why do you say that?
Well, he loosed bloody gargoyles and a dragon on us.
We were taken to his castle by his. It was just an unmanned carriage with horses, and it took us there, and we met him briefly as he played his organ. He invited us to dine, though I don't think we did, and we tried to leave.
Didn't
and
get
we
a chance to.
No, we were set upon by his guardians of his castle.
Well, it seems you are more brave than I gave you credit for. Or more foolish, says one of the other Vistani.
I was about to say that.
The Devil Strahd, as they call him. He has ruled this valley for a very long time, longer than any man should ever live. The people, they live in terror of the Devil Strahd. He takes exactly what he wants and gives nothing in return but fear, oppression. But it would take a mighty war band to try to overthrow this villain. One who was brave enough to storm the castle, like you did. Perhaps there is still some hope. Ravini, maybe we should tell them that first, a story. They tell me their story of the Slumber Haven. Let me tell you a story of a man much like you, but more powerful. Mighty wizard. This mighty wizard, he come to this land a year ago. I remember it like it was yesterday, and the men and the women they're all sort of nodding, and the children they're leaning out of the wagons, straining to hear, slapping their younger brothers and sisters to keep quiet. I remember it like it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you are standing right now. Very charismatic he was, handsome, if you are into such things, bald, with a distinctive beard, the goatee, strong of presence, but not strong of body. A mage, a powerful mage. He thought he could rally the people of Barovia against the devils. He stirred them thoughts of revolt, and he bore them like an army to the castle en masse, with he the vanguard, the gauntlet of this force. And when the Devil Strahd appeared, well, the peasants, they scattered like the wind and ash. They fled in terror. Who can blame them? A few stood their ground and were never seen again. The wizard and the Devil Strahd, they cast spells at each other. For he is not just a mighty warrior, but a powerful sorcerer as well. Their battle flew from the courtyard of the castle Ravenloft to a precipice overlooking the falls, just on the direction from which you have come. I saw the battle with my own eyes. I followed the river as I watched these two titans at each other's throat. Thunder It shook the mountainside. Great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard. By his magic, he survived. Lightning from heaven struck the wizard. Again, he stood his ground. But the devil Strahd fell upon him like a demon, and the wizard's magic could not save him. In the heat of melee, I saw him tossed like a steak tossed to the dogs. Over the falls, 1,000 feet plummeting down below, I saw him disappear into the mist to his death. I climbed down the river to search for his body, to see it, to see if he had anything remaining, anything of value. But the river elves had already spirited him away. He was an important magician. I remember this much. But his home world, his title, it escapes me now.
Does that sound like analogous to an equivalent tale from our world?
Make a history check.
Am I trapped in a book?
There are stories of powerful wizards sometimes vanishing, but most of those stories usually have the wizard end up being discovered either trapped by demons or having created their own extra-dimensional plane of existence. So you might be able to make ties with a story in your own world, but nothing specific.
When did this happen?
1 year ago. Just 1 year. The fat man who was trying to interrupt a few times, the fat Vistani, has come over to Anton and Augustus and some of the other members of the group while this charismatic gentleman with his brass earrings and his long moustache tells his story. The fat guy separates himself, goes over to Anton and Augustus and says, "Hey, if you are looking for a way out of this realm, there is secret only Vistani. But it is very expensive."
Can I check to see if he's like bullshitting us?
Absolutely.
He's just trying to get some money. Well, I don't have any money to pay him anyway, but
It's really he's really separated himself from you. I think he was more talking to Anton and Augustus, but you could definitely interfere.
I'm gonna
Augustus?
inspiration. Fuck.
Wow.
that's what happens to me every time I use inspiration.
I wonder if we lost Brady.
He said he was feeling sick and he had to
Oh, did he? I didn't
call
notice
in,
that.
It's in the Discord a little bit up.
Okay, cool. All right. The whole you've had a dubious feeling the entire time you've been here, Anton, and this guy does not making you any more reassured.
Okay.
It is expensive though, but it will get you back to your home world.
How expensive?
Normally people will pay up to 250 gold pieces just for one chance. Well, that will be one for each of you, which is too much for me to know. But I do you good price. It's. I do you something. What can you afford?
Not much. I'm an art
100.
teacher.
Can you 100 for you and each friend? There is how many? 700 gold piece. Each of you can leave this world forever. Go home to your wife, children.
I don't think any of us have that much.
Are you sure you have jewels?
Afraid not.
Oh, okay, look. I do it half price. One time. 50 gold pieces. Or maybe just potion for you, friend. Maybe not worry about everyone else. Just one potion for you will let you live. You will survive and escape this hell world. What do you say, friend?
I'm afraid I only have 15 gold pieces.
He just gets up and walks away.
Yeah, okay. Anton wasn't buying that guy's line.
He does try it with others, but he goes straight to the cheap price of 50 gold pieces. Nalenway,
I'm afraid I haven't that much money.
anyone?
What are we doing?
I'd probably tell him I wouldn't leave my friends, even if it would cost me nothing to leave by myself.
Then you come back and find me here or somewhere else in Barovia. You can find me and just ask for Pluton, and I will give you secret. Look, I show you now. I have secret potion. He shows you these glass vials. They're like a bottle green, and he opens one up and gives you a sniff. It smells like licorice. He says,
Hmm.
This is secret potion. You can drink this, and you walk into the mists, and it will take you back home. If you do not have this, the mist, they will choke you, they will kill you. You will die and fall over just dead. But this potion, you will not choke to death because you have magic potion.
Is he taking me away from everyone else this time?
He discusses it individually with each person, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of look at him, look back at the potion, and I say, I don't think you're exactly a nice person, and I don't appreciate what you're doing here. And I seem to have, and I pull out the little broken bit of vial with a little bit of green in it. I think you're swindling people. And I guess if you don't want me to tell everyone, you'll give me the gold that you made those 3 people die for.
You are very brave. If you want the gold, it is in my wagon. Why don't you go and take it?
Why don't I just go to the chief and we can talk about it with him?
Be my guest. You are in our realm now.
Okay. I get up and walk away.
You should speak with Madame Eva, says the man who is telling the story. He looks over towards the wagon, the oldest of the wagons, and a light has come on. And an old woman begins shuffling out of that Vardo and down towards the largest of the tents, being assisted by a couple of women on the verge, or girls on the verge of adulthood.
That sounds like a good idea. Yes. Let's.
Another reading.
Well, if it's not a reading, maybe she can point us in the right direction. They seem to think that she knows a lot.
Aye, if we know any more about this, whatever. The devil Strahd. Why is he called devil? Is he just particularly nasty?
Well, that is an interesting question. He is called devil because people see him as their foe, as a great evil within their life. But it may be that he is not a devil, but the devil.
Well, if he's some great evil, then maybe those readings about an enemy pertain to him.
If they're even true.
Well, I mean, he did invite us to our castle and set a few beasties on us, so he's not very a nice person. He's closer to an enemy than anyone we've got here so far. I'll talk to Eva if anyone else wants to come.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm
go.
all for it. Just before we proceed, Arctic, I think I might be looking at just a black screen.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
really?
Same.
Oh, they might.
I've been
Okay.
waiting for the reveal like this.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. All right. Yeah, I should check each time.
That's right. It's not like we were in battle or anything.
There's not a lot. There's not a great deal to see, but even so, it's still pretty disappointing.
The tasteful black screen.
All right. So you're shuffled over
Oh,
towards.
refresh.
Ah, right. Yeah.
See if that fixes it.
Yeah. It should have worked. 'Cause I have turned dynamic lighting off and everything
Oh,
like that.
okay. Yeah.
Unless it's got fog of war on as well. No, it doesn't. So.
Maybe we have to be placed down? No, I can see everything now. It's alright.
Okay.
Yeah, I just went from full screen to like normal, and everything's gone okay. So that's cool.
Like
Alright.
with F11 or zoom in? Alright.
Yeah, sorry, F11. Yeah, it was.
Cool. Yep. Nice to know that fixes it. I'll do that in the future. Saves refreshing.
All right. Okay. Cool. So you make your way over towards the largest of the tents, which is illuminated from within. You can see that there are flames casting a reddish glow over the inside of this tent. You're looking into an exotic domain. There's a haggard, shriveled woman that sits behind a small table, still sort of getting into place, being almost put into place like a doll by these two dark-haired adolescent girls. There is a crystal ball and some skulls and notes and Taroka deck candles in a kind of orderly mess about this domain. There seem to be flames glowing over the interior of the tent, but there's no fire. Just a low black table with black velvet cloth and a crystal ball that flashes out light, and that hunched figure is peering into its depths as the young women put her into place. The old crone begins to speak, and her voice crackles like dry weeds. At last, you have arrived! She says A cackling laughter bursts forwards from her withered lips, and she looks at each of you in turn with milky eyes.
Are we expected?
You are overdue.
You must be Madam Ava. Right, we've been told about you.
You must be Lenway. Did you feel ready for the authority that was thrust upon you so suddenly?
I'm afraid I don't really understand your question.
What brings you here?
Well, we're not exactly here of our own doing. We left our hometown, searching for an answer to the sudden mist and fog. And before we know it, we're in a completely strange and foreign place.
And what now? Do you wish to return from whence you have come?
Well, I personally would like to, of course, yes. I think most of us would.
Well, we'd like to get Slumberhaven out of this fog first, I suppose.
I am afraid you may ask too much. The fog is like the walls of a prison. None, except the Vistani, may travel through. Thus you are bound here for all of eternity. I am sorry to say.
What does that mean?
We can't leave. Is that what you're telling us?
Can the prisoner leave the jail cell when he wishes to go home? The mist, it is deadly. You cannot pass through it. You will feel pain in your chest, in your lungs, and you will feel the moisture of your blood as the veins within your lungs begin to burst, and the blood begins to fill them up, and you will drown, tasting your own life, gasping for breath. For the fog is the plaything of the devil Strahd, and he has invited you here, and he will not let you go.
Why?
What are we to him? Yeah.
Again, when you live forever, you grow bored. Ennui sets in. You seek any diversion, any perversion to amuse the endless night of loneliness and disappointment. Look at you with your swords and spells. You are a plaything, a mouse to the cat. And now you are here. But while you must accept your fate, you can still write your own story. there is only one way out of this world, and it is through the Devil's Strahd. You must convince him to let you go, or he will destroy you.
How can we do that?
Perhaps if you beg, perhaps if you serve, perhaps if you plead and supplicate and kneel and kiss his beautiful feet, and perhaps not. Perhaps you will be like the countless hundred who have come before you, who have dared to challenge Strahd, who have waltzed into his domain, into Castle Ravenloft, and sought to plunder and pillage and destroy.
We just came there to talk to him. He sent a carriage.
Then perhaps he will let you go. I do not know, for I have not seen your fortune.
Would you like to take it, I suppose? You're a fortune teller, yes?
I am. I will read your fates, if you wish this to be seen.
Well, it's already happened once. Second time can't hurt.
You have already had your fates read? Then why have you come to me?
This was
What?
the first place we saw after we ran from the castle.
We know your people to be hospitable and amicable, and we were well received. It was a place of safety. At least we thought so.
And safety it shall remain. Strahd's grip is long, his reach far, but here I shall offer you my personal protection. Sleep well, children, and ponder your fortune and fate. If I can be of any assistance, you shall know where to find Madam Eva.
There is one thing, actually, before we go. Are you referred to by some, or by many, or few, as the one who sees all?
She smiles, and she looks at you with her milky eyes. All and nothing, little child.
You might have something for us. If the fates we were read are true.
Is that so? Let me see. And she reaches underneath her little table, begins fumbling around. I have something here. It does not belong to me. Perhaps it belongs to you. It is too heavy for me to lift. Please, can you help me?
All right.
Yeah, I'd move forward as well.
Fireball.
Alright.
Gonna look into her bag. It's just your middle finger.
Definitely. It appears to be made of platinum or silver, and inladen with perhaps the largest ruby you've ever seen in your life, hanging from a gold chain, and the whole thing is quite clearly an image of the sun, although there are icons, runes, which remind you of the raven encrusted into it.
Hey. How, it's like is it amulet size or is it like fucking huge?
Yeah, it's an amulet. It's a large amulet.
And
It's
it
an
very clearly is a holy symbol, isn't it?
quite obviously a holy symbol of your god. You've seen this icon before. It's not known to you as the holy symbol of Ravenkind, but this is one of the regalias that is worn by the pharaoh themselves. This is a religious icon with few comparisons within your faith.
By Saint Nordica, this is gorgeous. Kind of like
Beautiful.
take it into my lap, into my palm, kind of like look at it.
Quite valuable.
Priceless, and I kind of like shoot a quick glance over at you.
Hey, come on. Cut me some slack. It's not made of mithril.
May I? I kind of gesture down to the pendant.
It does not belong to me, child. I have never seen it before.
Can I insight check that?
Go
What do I
ahead.
have on here? Checks personal belongings.
Or more correctly, I have not seen it in a generation.
I'll take it and place it around my neck.
She looks at you with unseeing milky eyes and smiles. Perhaps there is hope yet.
So is this to mean that the first reading we've been given is correct?
Not the first, but one of them.
I mean, as in, like, if the reading we got by Esmeralda was...
Power. 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 It's surging. It's surging through you. It's surging. It's concentrated from Elenway. It's coming, no surprisingly, from the amulet. But it's surging through all of you. You feel it. It's the quickening. It's rushing through your veins. It's rushing from your fingertips to your hair to your heart. Energy, this arcane power surges through you, and you immediately reach level 3.
Hey.
Just a landway?
Everyone.
Ah, okay.
It passes through like a field of lightning. You feel it. Each of you feel it.
Crap. that
That's
actually got a
interesting. Does this adventure have like actual milestones set where we'll level up after achieving things?
Perhaps.
Who wants to be the one to tell Grady he has to level up twice?
He's back online, so he'll join in a few seconds.
Ah, crap, I don't know what fucking class type to go.
Yeah, goddamn you, Arctic. Curse you for leveling us up. Catching us by surprise with something like that.
Isn't it such a... Like, I will say this about the adventure. The way the Taroka deck structures, the positioning of different things. Like it's purely by chance. I did a Taroka reading, and the holy symbol of Ravenkind was found to be here. And so, how amazing is that? All you had to do was follow a small trail, just the right trail. It is such an incredible open sandbox. The Curse of Strahd. It
And
might
yet,
not have
if
been
we'd
there.
gone a different direction.
That's it. There's like a 1 in 52 chance or something that it's there, something like that.
Wow.
You know?
Lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this adventure.
My rolls are terrible for HP.
Oh, yeah, I gotta roll for HP too.
I really thought that you were going to leave that encounter without finding that holy symbol though.
Why? Because of the one swindling dude?
No, just because I didn't know if anyone had pieced together the Taroka reading.
I realized that one. I know about the other ones because I can't remember them. Aha, there we go.
I just read them all. Yeah, I was just thinking about them.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, yeah, that's probably the. I'm wondering what the sickness and madness for a sword of sunlight would be, because I think I know what that is. 'Cause it's a famous item, but maybe an asylum.
Hello.
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 We've leveled
Hello.
up, Grady.
We leveled up again, by the way.
To
Level
3.
To 3 now.
Three.
And we've
Ah.
also found the holy symbol of Ravenkind. So we are technically 1/3 of the way through the module.
Hell yeah.
This
Cast a
is-
Strahd speedrun.
That's right.
We did literally storm the castle first thing
We-
out of the
we-
day.
The campaign's practically over.
We found out all
We,
the
Yeah.
secrets.
we stormed the castle.
Found the shortcut if you just are dumb enough to get in the carriage, you know?
Didn't you know we stormed the castle?
Oh, I knew you stormed. Oh, I thought you meant you stormed it again.
No,
Like-
never.
No.
But we did find the holy symbol of Ravenkind, so.
Hell yeah. We're in another Vistani camp. Talking to Madame Eva.
They have
God.
tokens, and I'm scared that's a bad.
I mean, don't start a fight and it won't be a bad thing.
God, I don't know what to do. Artillerist or battlesmith?
It's your choice, buddy.
I don't know.
I just leveled up last night. Fuck.
I'll go artillerist.
Still finding fucking sand in places that shouldn't sand. Fuck me. Not on my body, mind you. To clarify that point.
That's the, I assumed body, yeah.
I was about to say, puts hand up butthole, scoops out, scoops out sand.
Okay.
Hey, if we've no more discussing, maybe we sleep in your camp.
She would be delighted, or yeah, places you under her protection while you rest here at the Ivlis River.
May I also ask one of the many Vistani people to help me put these wolf teeth in my my started armor that I have?
They will help you for gold.
Oh, I've got nothing.
You've got dragon skin.
I've got a cask of ale.
Did you backwash?
Did I backwash? No, I've been handing it out to them too.
Alright, yeah, look, they'll give you a bit of a hand.
I mean, I could give you a hand. I'm
Oh,
pretty
yeah, you
handy.
could.
Yeah. And he's a dragon killer, so you probably best not to really fuck with you too much, you know.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
What did I just get proficiency in?
I think both of my rolls for HP so far have been lackluster. A 6 and a 2, I think, are my 2 rolls so far. So below the average both times. Wait, are you rolling the wrong dice, Reese? Don't you have D8 as a as a whatever it's called?
Artificer?
Yeah.
Do I?
Can we
Pretty
check that?
sure. You're
I'd
like
say
a
so, yeah, like a rogue.
yeah. You're not a full
Oh.
caster.
Yeah.
You're a
Oh.
half cast.
Quick look. Oh, it is 1D. It is 1D8.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been rolling the wrong dice, Chief.
Crap.
So yeah, even the maximum at the start would be wrong. Yeah.
So do I just take average? I'll just take average and do.
You can do it all over again. It's only 2 levels, so you'll get 8 at the start, and then you
8
can
plus
roll
his
the other
con,
two.
so 10 at the start,
Yeah.
and then roll the other 2.
I'll go. So Dukovic, I have a +2 to Constitution.
Roll 4 times.
Yeah, to
Roll
pick
the
between
8
the first
times.
2 and then the second 2.
Um,
Choose the lowest one, the day.
I ain't
Yeah.
a Carrick. Okay, so
He got a max roll the other day, and now he's up to average HP. 1 away from average,
hit point at maximum.
because the guy's using Constitution as his dump stat as a wizard.
It's not his dump stat. It's still 10.
I think it still is like lowest stat.
Strength is at 6.
Oh yeah.
He's a
Hit
kobold.
dice.
Strength is 6.
D8. There we go. Okay, I just fixed it. So hit dice. So 1,
Cool.
2, 3.
So take the 5 and then the 8.
Or 10.
No, the 10.
5 and 10.
So yeah, so you got
15
10 plus
max.
5 and then 10, 25 pretty
25.
easy.
So
Yeah.
8.
That's almost
8,
as much
9,
HP
10,
as
so
me, because my
10,
rolls are bad.
So 20. So 20 and then 5.
25.
It's 25, we already did the math.
Yeah.
I was at 25 before too. Before
Oh, good.
I was exactly the same.
Don't have to
Perfect, then.
change.
Yeah,
You must have
was
rolled really well on your first roll.
I think I did. Yeah,
rated by the Taroga deck.
it was foreseen.
That's right.
Now I get to add in all my other proficiency I just gained from my subclass.
With the help of Dukovic and maybe the Vistani, may I make my spiked armor? Because I already have a studded leather armor from that deceased
Yeah.
Oh.
dwarf.
Yeah, you make your you make your spiked armor off into the night.
Hell yeah.
Some of the women help do a lot of the work, a lot of the sewing, and they make eyes at you. But then the men threaten to beat them, and they lower their gaze.
Wow. Chill out.
Over the course of this long rest, does this holy symbol of Ravenkind do anything other than mechanically operate like a holy symbol?
Let's have a look.
Jesus, I've got so many tools, proficiency nouns. Alchemists, smiths, thieves, tinkers, and woodcarvers tools.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And you make them, right? Because you
Yeah.
just level up. Yeah.
So it requires attunement, and not surprisingly, it doesn't say if when you become attuned to it, if you learn what it does.
Okay.
But then again, yeah. Yeah. So would you like to attune to it?
I think Elenway would, yeah. Recognizing it for what it is, yeah, definitely.
Can't be bad, am I right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much. The holy symbol has charges.
Amazing.
Okay.
Gonna try and identify it over the rest, or
Absolutely. If we have identify spell, that'd be very useful. If we don't, it's an Arcana check. Or perhaps a history check. We've already done a history. didn't we?
Yeah. Failing having an identify spell, I'd probably like ask one of the brainier folk in this party. Probably Djukovic.
Yeah, Dugovich will have a look at it for you. He get his 8-ball out, give it a shake before he starts, and see if he gets anything. All right. Look carefully, it says, and I roll an Arcana
Alright.
slash roll 1d4.
6. Isn't it? Forgotten? No. Am I
That's
retarded?
It's a D4.
No, I'm retarded. It's alright. I'll just stay back here.
So 17 total.
Alright. Not surprisingly, this is a unique holy symbol. It's quite surprisingly, it is attuned to the god of the world from which you've already come, with some slight differences. It's an ancient symbol, and in fact, it is more ancient than the land of Barovia itself. But that's a bit of mystical history. I could tell you about the legend of the paladin Luganda, who had it delivered to him by a giant raven. I could tell you about the vampires that he used, that he destroyed with this holy symbol. But the best way to reveal the power of the holy symbol of Ravenkind is to use it. To use it to create the sunlight, which will forever banish the undead from your presence. I will just cut and paste what it does. It's a significant item.
And I just
Fuck me!
I just relay that information to you.
Awesome.
My
I trust
god.
your-
Did
I
you read
trust
all
your
that?
good
Ron?
Lenway.
Pardon me, sorry.
No, I don't need to read the whole thing. That first hold vampires.
I trust you are of good alignment, Lenway.
I am neutral good.
I thought.
Oh my, and it can create sunlight.
Hmm.
There is hope after all.
Where has this been pasted? Sorry.
It's
It's
in the
just scroll
handout
down of
for
the-
whole
Oh,
symbol.
yeah, right. Okay, well.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
So yeah, I wouldn't give you so much specific information. I'd just kind of give you a broad idea of what it's capable of. And then I'd probably explain it too fucking complicated, so then I'd say it again in a very dumbed down version.
Okay.
Makes sunlight and kills vampires.
Basically, that's what I'd say. Yeah.
Oh fuck it, we got an item that can hold vampires. Let's go back to the
Let's
castle.
go straight back to that castle, hey.
Hey, we don't know.
No.
Game's over.
Strahd speed run, like I said.
So are we having a long rest?
Yeah.
Here?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, unless you want to hoof it back to the town
No.
in the
Uh,
dark.
Well, in that case, Djukovic is going to be up for a little bit because he wants to do a few things. First off, he's going to change some of his spells out. So he's going to deconstruct his gadgets and reconstruct them into different spells. He's also going to grab Varric.
Right.
I just noticed you get hit a lot. That's not like that. You're very upfront. Can I have your armor? I can improve it as all.
Improve it.
Uh,
Sure.
yeah. I won't damage it. I promise. He'll take the armor and he will take his time and infuse magic into it to give it. If I can find the.
+1.
It's +1 to defense. I think that's it, but it's also then magical.
Hell yes.
So yeah, another +1 to defense.
Does that mean my attacks are with the armor +1 as well?
Where is it?
It would make them magical, right? My attacks with the armor.
A creature gains +1 bonus to armor class while wearing armor or wearing shield. The infused item, yeah, the bonus increases to level +2 when I reach to level 12. But let's not. It's not gonna happen. So yeah,
Not gonna happen. You gonna die before then?
I doubt we'll get to level 12, but yeah. So yeah, you get +1 to armor class from now on.
Hell
wearing
yeah,
that
yeah.
armor.
I have 17 AC now. That's pretty beefy for barbarian.
And I would also no, that's all. Oh, and just be making some magical tinkerings with the my tiny object stuff, making some little tiny light globes that only shine light in a 5 feet radius.
Alright.
That's all.
Alright, also, would they happen to have a breastplate or a shield here? I keep going down because I don't have armor or a shield.
They have shields, no
I need
breastplates.
armor or shields.
You can.
Oh my god.
You can use mine. I'll give you my shield if you want it.
They have shields, yeah, but not breastplate.
Actually, it doesn't matter. I probably can't afford what these gypsies are going to ask for it anyway.
Yeah,
I'll give you studded leather.
take mine. I don't mind. If you want to use it, use it.
Alright, I'll use your shield. Oh, what's the AC on studded leather? I'm not a heavy.
It's
user,
12
so it's
plus
probably
dex.
still. Yeah, that's no good.
Hide armor?
Is 13 plus? I'm gonna say it's 13 plus dex, maximum of 2. No disadvantage on stealth, I'm pretty sure.
Height is 12. It's the same as studded leather. It's
Is it
not
really?
much
Sure?
better than
It's a
my
medium
current
armor.
Yeah, it's 12 plus dex, max 2. Height is the worst medium armor there is.
Thought it was
Shit,
13.
it is bad, yeah. I thought it must be 13 as well. That is bad.
Extra first levels.
Yeah. Pretty not good.
Pretty not good indeed.
Oh, sweet! I always get them prepared.
I reckon it should be 13 at least. Come on, guys. Come on, wizards. Is there a car coming up your mountain?
Truck, yeah. Yeah, it's a kilometer away, but
Sound travels a bit.
yeah, exactly, because they're at the top of a mountain at the bottom of the valley. So
Hell yeah.
trucks sometimes blare through. Yeah,
Probably get good reception if you're on the top of a mountain.
depends. Yeah, yeah.
So much new stuff now that I leveled up.
Yeah. I just wish I rolled better on health. I'm like 6 below average right now.
Is cleric like the only class that doesn't get anything at 3? I just get the spell slots, but I don't.
It's
think...
because they get their archetype at level 1.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. True. They
Mm.
get the domain earlier. Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Spellcasters, for
Yeah.
full spellcasters, there's a lot of levels where you get a new level spell, so you don't get anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Mm.
level 5. I think level 5 you just get 3rd level spells. And then level 6 they get the domain feature again.
Yeah.
Like a better, their improved channel divinity. But yeah, yeah. It balances out by being like one of the strongest classes level 1, I guess.
Mm.
Especially War Domain. Makes me want to play like a great sword wielding War Domain.
All right, back to black screen. Oh no, I was just in the corner.
So we wake up, all of our shit's missing.
That's right.
Pull
Including
your
your
gold in.
virginity.
Yeah,
Oh.
put all your gold in things chest.
Yeah, I am. That amulet is not leaving my neck.
Hmm.
They give it to you just to steal
You
it.
just to steal it.
I have this amulet, 125 gold pieces.
Wait a second. I found it around someone's neck.
They were just laying there dead.
Just like that. Dawn comes, but you wouldn't know it save for the ambient light. There is no sun to break through these clouds. It's a grey morning, a dismal morning. The songs of the songbirds are muted, but they're there. And the Vistani are throwing lines into the water and pulling up catfish and eels. It's a quiet, somber morning, misty, to no one's surprise. But we are filled with renewed vigor, power. A surge of power that we all felt last night. We felt it before as well, undeniably. And the holy symbol of Ravenkind in our possession. The ability to vaporize vampires. It seems the tides have turned.
Well, should we go off to the town? Maybe they have a map of the area.
Yeah. What if we follow this? If we'll keep following this river, we should eventually get to that first bridge that we crossed on the horse, and it's just there, right?
The first bridge, it's all the way over there.
Well, so it is.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should like ask questions about when we get to town. Maybe ask about that wizard that came from a while, like last year, and maybe if they know any of these places that these fortunes talk about.
Yeah, it's a good lead. I wonder if there's maybe a library or archives of some sort. Perhaps we could check in there.
Aye.
All right. So you're ready to head off?
Shouldn't we just ask the Vistani
Yeah, it's a
know
good
about
idea.
these two locations?
Yeah.
A garden, maybe a
Place.
hospital.
And I suppose if Count Strahd's married,
Evil's Bride.
Well, the people that live under him probably know way more about him. Well, it won't harm us to talk to the Starney about it, I guess.
could ask Madame Eva. She was quite helpful.
Aye.
Oh, and I hope no one bought any of that stupid potion that man tried to sell. It's just that soft drink we found.
Oh.
I don't think he asked me.
Oh.
Might be racist.
Oh,
I didn't have the money.
yes.
Nah, he'd
it's fine.
definitely have asked you if he was racist. Everybody knows dwarves have gold.
Yeah.
Not this one. Mine got lost on the first night.
Then you're not really a dwarf, are you?
Hey, it's all in the tavern. I'm not bringing all my money with me to talk to the princess.
Right. You gonna talk to
So,
him before you leave? Madame Eva is sleeping.
as well.
But the rest of them are available, men and women.
We could ask about the bride,
Yeah,
or if they have a map.
is that that first bloke that was that told us the legend of the wizard versus Strahd? Is he up and about?
Yeah, he's around. What can I do for you, friend?
Well, we were told about. Someone mentioned Evil's bride, right? We were wondering. Do you know if? I mean, you seem to know a lot about lore and legend. We were wondering if perhaps Strahd ever married, or if he is married and his wife still, I don't know, walks the halls of his castle.
Kicking about.
I have heard only rumors and whispers, and I would not say them under the night sky, but now, in the sunlight, I feel confident talking about it. I believe that Strahd became a devil through a broken heart. I know that he once loved a woman, a dark-haired beauty, short but fiery. But I also have heard that he lost this love of his life, and he yearns for her. I think that he is very lonely. And when a man has power but no one to love, it must be a very miserable existence indeed. He hugs his wife.
I almost pity him now. Thanks for
They
your help.
say that he found his soulmate, and then he lost his soul. At that there are cries from ravens in trees on the verge of this camp. They go up in a cacophony.
Do you happen to have like a map or know of any other places in where are we, Barovia?
Aye, no map, but this Balik road only goes east and west. At one end lies Barovia, the village, a cheerless place of people of broken spirits. To the west, you will find Valaki, a place where fun is mandated. In the struggle to resist Strahd, they believe that happiness is the key to keeping the devil at bay. And there is Krensk. Krensk is a religious settlement to the north and west. You will find Barovia to the east, quite close. For Krensk and Valaki, you must travel through the western gates, back the way from which you have come.
Aye, the ones a little ways away from the castle, right?
Aye, some distance. They believe that distance takes them out of the devil's reach. Barovia has no such good fortune, for it lies in the shadow of Castle Raven.
This may sound like an odd question, but it's simply the description that was given to us.
You are an odd man.
does the term "a place where sickness and madness are bred, where children once cried" have does that strike a place for you here?
It sounds like a hospital where things have gone awry. Or perhaps a nursery where infection has seeped in. It sounds to me like somewhere that one can expect to find healing, but in fact will only find harm.
Do you know of any place like that?
It almost seems like every place in this world is like that. Huh. Except this camp, of course. We invite you in and we do you no harm. We only help. You should not listen to what others say about Vistani when they tell you we are Strahd spies. When they tell you that the reason that we can come and go as we please is because we are in service to this devil. You should not believe this. After all, we offer you help, not harm.
Well, now that he mentions it, insight check, if you please.
Absolutely. He seems awfully apologetic for something that you never mentioned in the first place.
Alright.
Once he says that, can I just double check that we didn't lose anything else while we slept?
Yeah, good question.
Search
You
through
ch-
packs.
You search through your packs and you have neither lost nor gained anything.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the safe place to sleep and the warm food.
It has been good to meet you, explorers from another world. An experience I shall not forget easily. Say, that amulet that you wear, pretty lady, is it for sale?
No, sorry.
You did not display it openly last night. Was it because you did not trust us?
It is because this amulet is an ancient artifact dedicated to a god that I have held very close to me all of my life. And to be united with an object like this in a place like this, well, I felt it proper to hold it as close as possible. I hope you understand.
Is that meant to be the sun?
I believe so.
You don't know what the sun looks like?
You can't look at it for too long, otherwise it burns your eyes. I haven't seen it physically, but I think this is one of many interpretations.
I have seen more winters than I remember. 35, 40. I stopped counting many years ago. But I have never seen the sun. Barovia has bad weather, and it is only when you go outside the confines of this valley that the weather clears.
I should very much like to feel the sun's warmth on my face again. We've only been in here for, what, now is the third day? I do miss it.
Good luck with your quest. I hope you do not end up with the midnight procession.
What may that be?
You would have been here at midnight. Of course, you have not yet seen. It is something for you to discover yourself.
Dangerous?
Ominous. But do not fear. You will. You will find. You will find what you seek, if your arts are true.
Aye.
Thank you for your help and your time.
One more piece of advice, he says, and he looks at Djukovic. It is bad luck to harm the raven.
Kind of just looks at him.
How did you know?
I don't know, it's just old wives' tale. I don't. My grandmama told me, Madam Eva, she told me. You don't kill a raven.
Right.
Insight check.
But you looked right at Dukovic.
This guy's having us on for sure.
It's a pretty good insight check.
He can't help but smile.
Kind of like squint my eyes at him, but I don't really say anything about it.
Shiva goes down Borg's back.
Mm.
You said there were crows in the trees not far off?
There are,
How many?
in the scores, more than 20, less than 100.
Right, okay. Well, if no one else has got business, let's head off to the town while we still got light. It seems to be getting shorter.
It's a good idea. I think let's do it.
Are we sure we want to head towards this town?
Well, unless you want to go all the way back and go through the gates to the west.
I think in the.
Maybe
I don't know, I just got a feeling that in the meantime, getting further away from this castle might be better.
Well, what if we were to pick up horses, or more donkeys, or a cart, carriage?
Well, maybe the nurseries in that town too, or would the hospital or something.
Perhaps we could. Yeah, we could. I mean, I kind of like pull up the amulet. Like the reading Esmeralda gave us has been pretty good so far. I think it might be in our best interest to explore all of our options.
Is it snowing any? Like, had it been snowing in the town that we went through, Barovia?
No.
Okay.
There's snow on the mountain caps, but there's not in the valley.
All right. Well, let's get going then. If we're all in agreement to the town, maybe the people there know more about this Strahd fellow.
I think
maybe.
Yeah, we really should. I think we should be very careful as well, right? Like we've only ever encountered the Vistani, and we know that they're at least hospitable and friendly folk, but we don't know the same about any of the towns we're about to go to. You know, if it were up to me, I'd say let's gun for that religious settlement of was it Kresk, something like that.
Kresk, yeah.
That would be my first point of call, but we have no idea how far away it is.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. If this place of sickness and madness is some kind of hospital, I would expect it to be something started by the religious folk.
It's a bit damning, but okay.
No, I just mean to say that in a place like this, the intentions of setting up a place like that might be different, but even if it's not there, these religious folk are almost certainly going to know about such a place.
Aye. Do you want to hoof it there?
It really depends
Well,
on.
I don't mind either way.
Yeah, that's. I mean, either way, I think both are good. One's just further away. We could take, the next day or two getting to this smaller village of Barovia.
Yeah, probably just a day's, like not even
Yeah,
a whole.
and kitting ourselves up with whatever it is we need to make a longer journey. I certainly don't have very many rations remaining.
How far can we walk in one? It's like 2 miles an hour or something, right?
Yeah.
Regular pace.
So each of these squares is about 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we can get there within like 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, okay. It's that close, is it? Then yeah.
It's an amazingly small map, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
this is day 2 of being in Barovia. Day 2.
Yeah, right. Far out.
Yeah, right?
Mm.
It's
Okay.
such an interesting, it's so claustrophobic, this campaign.
Everything's gonna come in to choke you. Well, start getting to hoof it. Maybe
5 damn miles. That's all it is, Like,
Mm.
in a normal D&D game, you wouldn't even mark it. You'd just be there. But not here.
Alright, gather your things. Let's get going then.
Alright.
Literally like a 2-hour side stop, technically, so it's not like a big deal if we go one way or the other. Currently.
So it doesn't. Even if we like cut through.
What's the point?
Oh,
Sure,
I guess it.
we save an hour.
Yeah. Up to you. I don't mind either way. My character wouldn't lead.
Probably safer on the path. We don't know if we're gonna have to
I think
encounter more hungry wolves.
let's just stick to the road. I think that's safest.
Alright. We set out, bidding our fine hosts farewell. Mandatus, you can move this skull any direction that you want, 1 square, and you can then roll a d10.
All right, we go on to is that the town? Is that right?
Yeah.
That is Barovia.
D10, you say?
Uh-huh. Alright. Old Sven, you may move 1 direction, 1 square any direction. And roll a d10.
What if we just keep moving back and forth?
Then that would be a leadership struggle. So anyway, d10 in a square any direction.
Sure. And I kind of want to take this 10-minute period of travel, like, kind of turn to the party and ask everybody, is everyone doing okay?
Fine.
It's been a pretty crazy couple of days, right? Is everyone feeling all right?
When in Barovia, do as the Barovians do, eh?
I think with a decent insight check, you probably see that Dukovic is very worried, but pouring himself into his creations and work to distract himself.
Yeah, you're kind of getting lost, right? Like in that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he doesn't say anything when you ask.
Alright.
Think old Sven's gonna rot if he doesn't get another mug of beer.
Boring. Move us forward as a d10, please.
Whoop.
Okay.
8.
D10. Alright. Dukovic, roll a d12 plus a d8.
How many wolves?
Ouch. That would hurt us very bad.
Mm-hmm. Why is it I roll good on these sort of things?
It's the will of the dice.
Mm.
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
All right. So, looking into the misty distance, the fog is not so thick that you can't really see. You got a bit of a view for a few 100 feet in all directions. After which time, it all just gets swallowed up in the whiteness. But you can see up ahead a crossroads. You would vaguely recall this crossroads from your overland journey earlier. But you were too busy hanging onto the reins or looking out the window to really pay too much attention. Here we are at a crossroads. There is an old wooden gallows creaking in a chill wind, and the wind's blowing down from where you're coming. It blows past you down towards this gallows. There's a frayed length of rope dancing in the gallows in the beam, and a corpse hangs from it. Looks roughly human-sized, probably male, and it swings in the wind. There are there's a well-worn road sign split here, pointing in different directions. But long before you get a chance to investigate the signpost or get a closer look at the gallows, 4 people, you can't even tell if they're men or women, if they're even human at all. 4 people coated from head to toe in mud and cow shit and pines, nettles and leaves, and they seem to have become freaked out by your presence, and they start panicking between them, and they start to sort of scatter in towards the forest. And if the party wishes to run them down, you might be able to catch them. Otherwise, you're currently 300 feet away, and they're almost certainly going to reach the limit of the forest before you get to them, or the gallows.
Should I shoot one in the leg?
Why?
I don't know. They just seem feral. I'm scared.
Well, they're leaving us alone.
I guess. But what about that poor fellow?
What poor fellow?
Out of character, wasn't there one near the gallows? The dead one?
There's someone hanging from the gallows,
Yeah.
a humanoid, probably a man, and yeah, these he doesn't look cloaked in mud or bark like the people that you've just scattered.
But the one hanging from the gallows. I think he's probably dead.
Well, if he's hanging from a gallows, I'd hope so.
Let him stay.
Alright. I'm gonna just
No
slip
use
back.
shooting some woodlands.
The man has yellowish hair and fair skin. He's dressed quite schmickly. He looks like a bit of a fancy man compared to people dressed in mud and shit at least. There's a set of tools at his belt, wrenches and screws and screwdrivers and other sort of tinkering tools.
Get closer then, I guess.
All right, you close in towards the gallows, and then this corpse continues to swing in the cold wind, dancing away from you. There are some graves here, a bunch of gravestones marking their presence. As you get closer to this corpse and you see it swinging, you see that the man hasn't been dead very long. Maybe a minute, maybe 10. He looks like this.
You got a doppelganger. Is it an
Right.
illusion? Can I throw a rock at it?
Bam! The corpse starts swaying in the wind, in the kinetic energy of the rock.
Just kind of just keep staring at it, just silent, and every now and then looking back towards the tree line where the others ran.
There's movement in the bushes, but you don't see any people.
Duvich gulps. Just keeps staring. Does it just look a lot like me? Or is
How
it?
close do you want to get to inspect it?
I don't want to get close enough that it can grab me if it turns undead, because he's still scared of every corpse being undead. But I want to get close enough to see if get a little bit closer.
Alright.
His scientific curiosity wins out over his fear.
The way it's swung, it has its back turned to you. You can see behind its shoulder and over towards the profile of its face. It begins to turn in the breeze, pivoting. As you get close, 50 feet, 40 feet, 30 feet away, the breeze pushes it, swings it towards your direction. And the face is in full view, your face. Its eyes open.
Does it have both of its hands like? Does it have only one hand like me, or does it have both hands?
It has both hands and they're bound behind its back.
Okay. And its eyes are open?
Its eyes are open.
Why would they open?
Hello? Kind of gets a little bit closer, maybe like 25 feet away.
Continues to swing in the breeze.
Were its eyes closed, then it opened, or they opened when they say what?
You're
were
not
they just
sure
open?
anymore. Its eyes are open now. That much you can be certain of.
Do you have a twin brother
No,
that
no.
happens to live in Barovia?
No, not that I know of. Not. I'm only a child. This is uncanny.
Is this another omen? Tent of Lenway?
Not sure. I can only imagine this has something to do with the fact that you marked yourself when you shot that raven.
Don't like it.
Maybe it's Strahd messing with us.
Maybe.
Likely.
And Dukovic should back up from it. He doesn't get closer. He turns away. He doesn't want to look at it anymore.
Some sort of like magic. Maybe. This guy's shown he's good with like turning things to stone. Surely, turning one person into another or an object into another.
Kind of throw a hand on Djukovic's shoulder as he turns away.
He jumps when you put his.
Hey,
And it comes down immediately when he.
His hand you throw at him.
everything's gonna be alright.
Kind of just stares off into the distance. Yep, alright, it's gonna be alright.
Maybe not shoot more crows in the future.
No more. I ain't gonna shoot anything else. He kind of starts to walk back towards the road away from the what's the name? The gallows.
Is he decked out in the exact same gear as well?
Not exact same, very similar. Stylistically similar, but not exactly the same.
A sick game by Strahd, I guess. Now we know why everyone calls him a devil.
He's straight up malicious, pulling a stunt like this.
Maybe we should take the body down and see if it's another person.
I got
I can-
person killed because I wanted to kill a crow.
I can put the body to rest so it can't like come back afterwards.
There was that empty grave before that dug its way out. Maybe it's for the best. I don't want him coming after me.
I don't want to spend the day digging up a hole, though.
Whoever it is, I think we just let them stay here.
Hey, best not to mess with it. Maybe it's the townsfolk hung up someone.
No point No point toying with the dead.
Alright.
Before we leave, I
Citizens.
might cast Gentle Repose on it.
You have to put
Okay.
2 copper coins on its eyes.
And it's still hanging, isn't it?
Makes it. It's pretty hard to balance it. Yeah, that's
Stick it on
Yeah.
one side of the coins and shit it.
Shoves
Nail
coins
them.
into.
Oh
bicycles.
god.
nasty. All right.
Dukovic sees you cast like gentle. Oh, do you actually gonna still cast it or no?
You have to cut it
If
down.
yeah, if we want to take it down.
Is there a like a frayed rope out of all the hangman rope?
Yeah, it's pretty frayed. It's pretty damaged and old. If that's what you're asking.
Oh, like is there a missing one? Because I have a hangman's noose from the
Uh-huh.
first night where my gold went missing.
Right. I still don't, I don't quite understand now. But if you want to take this rope down and replace it with your own hangman's noose, you can do that. Yeah.
No, that's right. I was just asking if there was like one, like a hangman's noose missing out of it.
Oh, right.
There were several nooses lined up, or is it just like a singular gallows?
Yeah, it's just a singular
person.
gallows, only fit for hanging a single person. That's
okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
I'd assumed it was like the standard, like 3 or
Multiple.
4.
Yeah, no, just one person at a time. 10 graves, so they haven't hung a vast number of people here, but coming up to a dozen.
With the graves, I guess someone will be around here at some point to bury it. So,
I've just had an interesting thought. Right? What if whoever was hanging here, right? It looks very similar to Djukovic, right? What if the townspeople did put him here, and we're about to walk back into town with, well, the guy they just hung?
did the townsfolk see us even?
Well, it's not gonna be much of a problem. See, when I was tinkering last night, I had a thought about, you know, these what are we calling these carnies? Not the carnies, the
Vistani?
Vistani. If I don't want the Vistani to recognize me, I can use this to change my appearance. And he pulls out like a little box, and he clicks it. He won't use it actually. He'll say, if I click this, it'll produce a sort of like a moving image around me, and I can change what I look like.
I think it might be
Alright.
practical to try it out when we walk into Barovia.
I can do it outside of Barovia, and then once we get inside, you're right.
On the topic of the townspeople being the ones to hang it, you said that the body was really fresh. So, are there any other tracks apart from the like wild people that were here a second ago, leading to the hangman's noose?
Yeah, you can make a survival check at disadvantage, but due to the fact that they have trampled the area already, if there is any tracks, then they're likely disappeared.
Whoop. 7.
Yeah, it's a mess. You only find barefoot tracks. You don't find any shoe tracks.
Well, just keep an eye out for those wild people. Maybe we won't get hung up as well.
They can try.
Alright. Anton, if you want to move us 1 square in any direction and roll a d10, please. Excellent. And so you emerge from the forest, and you're now able to travel along this path relatively safely. This last mile or so is quite calm and peaceful. Aside from the ravens who caw at us, and the mist that shrouds what lies within the forest. The air is fresh and clean. The breeze cool, but crisp, but not cold, not biting. You cross over the old bridge that you careened across last time you were here. And you can see the village of Barovia begin to come into view as you cross over the River Iblis. This clear river, clear blue river, flowing underneath a 50-foot wide arching stone bridge.
Pretty wide bridge.
Yeah, old, magnificent, somewhat crumbling, a little bit decayed, but sturdy.
And there's no like cobbled paths or anything, right?
No, they're not cobbled paths, or if they were, the cobblestones have mostly disappeared. It looks like it was a hard-beaten earth.
Hmm.
Right, we have arrived in the village of Barovia.
You gonna use your disguise?
Oh, yes, right. You'll bring out a little box, click the button, and I guess it'd turn invisible, hover over my head, and cast like a hologram over me, making me look like. I guess it'd make me look like someone from the village of Slumberhaven that I know. Except obviously my metal arm is still a metal arm.
Excellent. Do you disguise that in any way? Or do you just keep the metal arm open?
No, I keep the metal arm open so it just looks natural onto this skin, so it's not going to be a problem later when I accidentally knock it and it clinks. So, yeah, I'll leave it open.
Yeah. Alright.
Just before we enter the village, I'm going to use enhance ability on myself. I'm going to give myself the Owl's Wisdom.
Alright. Your eyes are sharper, and you understand things with that much greater clarity after bestowing this blessing on yourself. Alright. So, the mist shrouds Barovia, as it shrouds everything else in the valley. But you can see shapes looming out of this dense fog that settles on everything and clambers to coat and wall and tree alike. The muddy, hard-packed earth underfoot seems to give way to some slick, wet cobblestones, damp from the morning dew. And as you clip-clop along this old, ancient, mud-choked road, you can see that the tall shapes are village dwellings, houses, buildings. The windows of each house are staring out from the darkness within. There's no sound in this town, in this village. You don't hear the creak of swings or children playing. You don't hear the bark of dogs. You don't hear the sounds of men and women arguing or laughing or making love. It's silent, a choking silence that is only disturbed by a distant, mournful sobbing coming from deeper within the village.
Cheery place.
Madness and sickness?
Possible.
Remains to be seen, but it's not looking too good.
We enter from this road.
Do you want to put our tokens down or the party token still?
Probably the party token, but it's up to you.
Party token for now. We're not splitting up, I guess. Yet, anyway.
Our heroes. Looks much bigger in this. Quaint. Is that on a hill over in the top right corner? That larger building?
Yeah.
Can we see it over all the others?
Only probably vaguely. It's not that much more elevated than anywhere else. Yeah, the church, which lies to the north, is probably one of the more obvious buildings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's it's quiet in here. Some of the houses have smoke coming out of the chimneys, though, indicating that they are surely inhabited. Though those that have firewood burning probably number roughly 1/4 at best.
I guess so. Would we have seen like the church and like the cemetery as we were arriving towards the town, or is it still really hard to see from here?
It's yes and no. You would be able to have noticed it and to have probably guessed it, to have made it out, but at the same time, it is choking in the fog like everything else.
I guess I turned to the party. Oh, what about for that one reading, cemetery instead of a hospital?
Ooh. Are children baptized in this religion? Are children baptized in the religions? Like taken to church normally?
Yeah, yeah,
Could
they can be.
interpreted.
Yeah. Births, deaths, and marriages are all pretty important in most religions.
Yeah. Maybe it is best we go to the church first, or like find the mayor or something.
Yeah, the church, an inn. Well, the church sounds good, actually. Yeah, why don't we go speak to whoever lives there, whoever holds domain here.
Do you go through the streets, or do you bypass the town more or less completely and go through the fields?
No reason not to go through the streets, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Stroll like that or something. Oh, I didn't actually mean to move us, but there you go.
Alright. Well, before you get there, as you start moving through the town streets, doors shut. Window shutters are pulled closed, shades come down. Businesses, such as they are, Manchester sellers and furriers and clothiers, tailors, they shut their shops as you approach. They pull down the shades, close their doors, put up closed signs.
Are there any looks of
You don't see anyone.
Yeah, okay, right.
They're gone before you get there.
Welcoming people.
You might see a few eyes poking out behind blinds and curtains, or through holes in the wall that have yet to be mended.
It looks like I didn't have to use my gadget. It's even visiting us,
They're still looking.
I guess.
Let's get going to the church, I guess.
I really don't like it here.
Hopefully a holy man's more inviting.
I certainly hope so.
Many of the buildings seem completely unoccupied. They're shuttered up and in many cases boarded up, certainly locked, but probably abandoned. Would you like to investigate further?
Best not to make an enemy of the people by breaking into their houses.
Yeah, Digger's just pretty high strung still from everything that happens. Is there anything crazy yet?
Anyone who has the religion skill, or even the arcana skill, would notice that many of these doors have holy symbols, insignias, painted in yellow or even in blood. Small icons of angels, even identical to Nordica, the angel made famous back in our own home world. Lots of icons, garlic hanging in the windowsill, and so on and so forth. The sort of wards that peasants use to keep evil at bay.
Something must be plaguing this town if they want to do that.
Superstitious folk.
Strahd.
Mm.
With a ruler like that, he's a pain in the ass.
And the Vistani said that this village lies in the shadow of his castle.
Maybe he comes down here to beat people every now and then.
From what I've seen, I don't think he uses his hands.
You see some people moving down here in the fog to the east, shuffling about their business quietly. Ignore them and continue along our original path.
They don't seem too keen to greet us as well, eh?
On the contrary, they seem to be actively avoiding you. But they have to go out into the street to do whatever they've got to do. Alright,
Is anyone following us?
make a perception check.
As we walk by through this little bit of town, Digridge will kind of keep an eye out for any I guess what a blacksmith would be.
Yeah, you find a smithy. It's shut down. It's gone out of business.
This
But
is
the
a-
anvil's still there. Some of the equipment, like the hammers and the tongs, the forge is obviously cold. But it's there. Just run down and abandoned, like a ghost town.
Let's just get to this church before we get lynched.
I would like to go back to that smithy later if we can.
Aye, but making noise with the hammers ain't probably the best idea right now. As a first impression, at least.
Yeah, true.
This place
Alright.
is so sad. I don't like it at all.
Something that makes you like it perhaps even less. As you depart the cluster of buildings, crouch around together, looming over these dirt-cloaked cobblestone streets, the church comes into view. And it is something of an enlightening or a uplifting, rather, an uplifting revelation that is crushed between the weight of, well, malaise. For this church is your church. Pillar for pillar, stone for stone, window for window, it is identical to the chapel back in Slumberhaven that you administer to. Only some crucial differences. And that's the state of decay. The windows here are smashed, the stone crumbling, the roof caving in, the door closed, but it looks like a single shoulder barge might break it down completely. There is light coming from within. It's not completely abandoned, but it looks so insignificant. There it is at the base of a rise, right? At the base of a rocky rise that looms overhead and reaches up hundreds, 1,000 feet above mist so thick it becomes cloud. And there it is, grandeur and glory, watching down over Barovia like a wicked schoolmarm. Castle Ravenloft. At the very top, the same rise at which the church is built into the foothill of.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are we in like an elevated position in terms of the rest of the town?
You're coming up to one, so slightly elevated, but not a great deal. But every step that you take, you go higher up this foothill.
Well then, as we're moving up, Anton's gonna turn, kind of walking backwards almost to face the town. He's gonna see if anything else resembles Slumber Haven.
Yeah.
Resemblance is uncanny.
Make a perception check. Tavern looks a lot like your tavern. The mansion looks a lot like the mayor's mansion. It's clearly a different town. Clearly, the placement is very different, but the buildings almost look transposed. Yet in each case, they're worn, they're weathered, they're run down with shingles fallen off the roof and shattered windows that have gone long unrepaired, paint that stripped away decades, perhaps centuries ago. This looks like what Slumberhaven might look like after an apocalypse.
Do you think other people have come here and failed to get out, so they tried to build some haven here?
I mean, did we lose the town carpenter?
How is that even possible? We've only been gone for a few days.
Do days really feel like days here, though? I don't know. We might have been here for years now. We don't even know if time travels normally here.
Haven't got a grey hair on your head.
Well, we might be traveling faster than everyone else back home. Give me some.
Can Anton make a check to see if the fog is like screwing with our perceptions?
Yeah, sure. Arcana. Maybe insight. Either is fine. Something is, right? You know, you can't shake the feeling that more than one person's constantly watching over your shoulder. You can't shake it. Every time you look into the bushes move and rattle. Every time you look into a window, someone pulls the shutters closed. There are people watching you, both literally and figuratively. You can't escape the feeling that no matter where you go, there is this omnipotent presence that follows you, and that is best personified by the mist. So, while it may not be the mist that is actually fucking with your senses, such as it were, it's at very least symptomatic, and it may even be the root cause. The word yes.
I'm not certain any of this is actually real.
Well, only one way to find out. Can I go up to the door and knock on it?
Absolutely. So it sits atop the slight rise against the roots of the stone pillar that supports Castle Ravenloft up above. It's a grey, sagging edifice of stone and wood. This once proud chapel. It's obviously weathered the assaults of evil, just literally centuries. And it's worn and weary and on the verge of collapse. There is a bell tower towards the back, and there is a flickering light that is shining mostly through the holes in the roof, but also through the holes in the windows. The rafters seem to strain underneath their load and groan as you approach. You get near the doors, right? And you see that the doors, heavy wooden doors suitable for a fortress, have been thoroughly damaged in the past. They've been scarred by fire. They are coated in a charcoal that you can scrape away, and deep claw marks, roughly the size of a human hand. Deep claw marks that, in some cases, break through right through to the other side, allowing you to see into the church beyond.
May I peer through when I knock?
You can see inside a 10-foot wide, 20-foot long hall. And it leads to a brightly lit chapel at the end. The hall itself is unlit and has the stench of mildew. It doesn't. It's just so damp and claustrophobic in there. There are 4 doors, 2 on each side of the hall, leading to adjacent chambers. You can see that the chapel is strewn with debris. There is broken pews and upturned tables and collection plates that have been tossed all over the floor. And you can hear a soft voice reciting a prayer. Help me, Father. Watch over me. Bring me. Father, I'm so hungry! A scream comes from beneath the floor, inhuman, and the prayers just continue. Watch over me and bring me protection. I will be faithful. I will protect the flock. The scream seems to emanate from beneath your feet.
I knock again.
The door rattles as you knock and almost seems to open itself. Exactly right. And so you're looking into this darkened hall, and you can hear the soft prayers of a priest up ahead.
Push the door the rest of the way up and walk in.
Let's have a look. I'll put Anton down, and the rest of you can put yourselves down here as well.
I can't see, so I'll just drag it. Ah, yes.
Yeah, you should be able to see when you drag it down.
That works. 100%. I'd be right in the door. Has that priest got his back to us?
Yeah, you can't see him yet. I guess maybe you can. But yeah, the short answer is he does. He's kneeling. He has his back to you, and he's praying quietly. A prayer that is familiar to Elenwe.
I'm gonna push past Vorig and kind of, if I can hear him clearly, I will join in as I enter.
Light shine down upon us, bring us protection. You shine upon the good and the evil alike.
Are there any holes in the floor?
No holes in the floor, no. But just enough gaps that you can smell something down there. You can smell the dampness of a poorly kept cellar or basement. The chapel's a shambles. Overturned and broken pews along the dusty floor. Dozens of candles, mounted in candlesticks and candelabras. They're lighting every corner, every dusty corner, trying to expel the shadows, to rid this chapel of any darkness whatsoever. The far end of the church, there is an altar, but this altar has the gouge marks of deep claws scarring up. And behind that altar, there is a man. The man is dressed in vestments, in priest robes that are polluted, soiled, dirty, and stinky. And he is the same, with sweat and grime covering his face, his bald head, his hands. The far end, and next to him is a long, thick rope reaching up above the bell tower. And as Lindway begins to join in the prayer, Father, please help me! I'm starving! Have mercy, Father! The priest just keeps on praying and rocking backwards and forwards, mumbling and stumbling over his words.
Step again forward and like angrily like, what in the sun is going on here?
Protection. Give us deliverance. Give us deliverance. Look after our souls. Dear Lord Son, protecting us throughout our lives
Hey!
and beyond.
Priest, look at me.
Make a persuasion roll. Light be with me in
I
all
throw
of
a
my
piece of wood
steps.
at him.
Make an attack roll.
It's just strength, right? Because it's improvised.
Yes,
Whoop.
crunch, bam. Oh! Oh, you knock him to the ground, and he falls to the ground and starts weeping as his holy symbol shatters, like his rosary beads just scatter and roll across the floor.
Oh shit.
Shoot like a vicious glare back at Vorig.
Hey, he's being ignorant.
And
Father, you've forgotten about me, haven't you?
what in the places is going on here? And kneel down over the priest and kind of like offer a hand.
His sobbing is soft and pitiful.
Look back over at the rest of the party. Shrug.
Who's underneath the floor?
He seems to stop crying. And his eyes raise from the floor to your feet and up Elenway's legs, and he comes to rest on her breast. He reaches forward. The holy symbol of Ravenkind.
The one and the same.
Hope! Hope has come to us at last! Tell me, you know a cure. Father! I'm starving!
A cure for
A cure for my son! Can you remove his dire curse?
well, I can certainly look at him.
He's a brave boy. Brave! A hero! He was a fool! He defied! He was defiant! A traveler came. A traveler came a year ago. Powerful and charismatic. He sought to overthrow the rule of Strahd. He banded together a war band. Well, my son, my son joined him. Only their foray was ill-starred. The Archmage was no match for my lord. My son My son was not among those who fled. He was brave. He stood and fought. He stood and fought alongside the mad mage until his defeat. But
I'm sorry.
when he returned, he was... Father! I'm starving! Feed me!
Is that a woman's voice or a man's voice?
A crazed, insane thing's voice.
Wonderful. Can I make a quick insight check on the priest to see if he's I don't know, dangerous?
Yeah, absolutely. Insight's perfect for that. He has all the will of a weapon. He is insane, and in that sense he's dangerous, but if left to his own devices, then he's going to do what the best of us do. We offer our thoughts and...
Your son's cursed, you see.
I have no way to cure him, and I will not let anyone destroy him. There must be a way to save Doru. There must be.
Well, what does he eat?
Eat. He doesn't eat. He feeds. He drinks blood.
Djokovic will look at Anton, kind of just point, like put little 2 fingers near his mouth and put little make little fangs with his fingers.
Are
Anton
vampires
nods
unheard of?
slowly.
When he entered the castle, he returned changed. He returned a monster, but he is still my son. And there must be a way to lift this eternal curse. I have not fed him. He has not eaten in a year, but he craves blood. He demands it. But in the name of the sun, I have not fed him. I have kept him confined to his room, where he is safe, where he can. It is best for a father to be with his son.
Shouldn't you put him out of his misery?
No, there must be. You can't.
Why?
I'll not let you. Be gone from my dwelling.
Let me see your son.
Yes, holy woman, bearer of the symbol of Ravenkind. You have the answers. As he pours at you.
Like I said, I'm more than happy to take a look, but I can't guarantee that your son's condition will improve.
Oh, it will. I know it will. The sun has answered my prayers. He falls down onto his knees and starts going into open worship, flopping around like a doll in the wind.
And yet, look at the way you keep this chapel,
My prayers will deliver him.
Can I have I'll move forward a little bit, but stay behind Vorik. Can I have a look at the guy and see if he has any bite marks?
The priest?
Yeah, the priest.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to see if he's tried to feed his son.
It's yeah, you're able to inspect him.
Is that investigation or perception?
Yeah, or medicine, investigation or medicine.
I'll go investigation.
There is no evidence. Though he does seem malnourished, dehydrated, sleep deprived, and otherwise exhausted.
Okay.
How do we get down to him?
Lead the way.
He showed you the way into the undercroft. I'll transport you all down together.
Oh, okay.
I Fortuna.
Alright, so the church's undercroft has rough-hewn walls, a floor that's made of damp clay and earth that squelches underneath your feet. Little worms and bugs and beetles crawling between any bare toes that you might have, or underneath your boots if you're wearing them. The pillars here, the wooden pillars that hold the building in place, they're rotten and they're straining under the floor, under the weight of the wooden ceiling. There's a little bit of candlelight from the chapel above slipping through the cracks, giving you just enough light to see a little figure, an adolescent boy or a boy on the verge of manhood, cowering, hiding in the corner, looking terrified as you approach with your lanterns and torches.
After you, then, way.
What are you doing down here, son?
I can smell your blood. I'm so hungry, so hungry. Feed me.
Just trying to get a look at you, boy. We know you're sick. We've come to help.
I'm starving. I'm starving. Help me. Help. Give me what I need.
I'll hold the symbol up and then use that hold one charge to try and use that hold vampire thing.
Alright,
So it
wisdom
flares
save,
out.
right?
Let me just check the handout.
Wisdom 15, I think.
DC 15.
Yeah, DC 15 wisdom.
Yeah, so describe how it happens. It flares out.
So yeah, kind of like so I present it and then like kind of will the effect to occur, and there's just like a flash of light from the ruby.
Oh.
He runs and hides in the corner. It hurts and burns. Take it away. You're killing me. Don't hurt my son. The old priest starts charging. Well, I mean, charging is maybe an exaggeration. Starts stumbling and blumbering down the stairs. He's getting caught on his robes. He smells like old man and urine.
This is beyond me. There's nothing I can do here.
No, you can't. Leave us behind. The prayer alone will heal him. Give me time and prayer. Please, back up the stairs.
I gesture for everyone to go back up.
I'm not killing a boy,
No.
even if he
boy
is
anymore.
some monster.
Father, I'm so hungry. Quick! He starts pushing everyone up the stairs.
I push him up the stairs before me.
I'll have that. The symbol is still out, tightly in the right hand.
I fell off last.
Alright. You're back in the church. Back in the chapel.
Are vampires unheard of in whatever world we were in?
Vampires are not only not unheard of, they ruled the world for a while.
Oh, they did? That's pretty sick,
Yeah.
for one thing. So everyone knows of them, yeah?
Yeah. Vampires are widely known to be extremely selfish and self-serving,
dragons.
but cunning. Yeah.
Human
Yeah.
dragons.
Yeah, they're not too different. Empire builders.
A vampire, he looks. spawn.
He does, yeah.
I think so. He wasn't too big a fan of this.
You
What?
say Strahd did this to him?
Aye, Strahd and that mad wizard of the Baratok Mountains. Oh, the fool! Oh, he said that he had enough power to defeat any force in the multiverse. But no, he was a charlatan and a liar, and he led my boy to his doom.
Wait, the mad wizard of the what now?
The Balanok Mountains that lie to the north. Whence he came from, I know not, none do. A foreign world, he said. He claimed to be a plain walker.
Uh, he fought he fought Strahd last year, yeah?
Aye, a year ago it was, and I have had my son in protection ever since.
We'd heard from the Vistani that he's dead.
That surprises me not the least. The charlatan wizard was nothing but a fool who doomed us all.
You guys think Strahd is a vampire then?
I think so. It would explain his disappearing act.
And the fact that everyone says he's immortal, one thing.
Don't leave me here! I'm dying!
Um,
By the
can
sun, by the light.
Djokovic kind of take out some of his books and notes and stuff and set them on this bit of wood? Would he have ever, like, even from his past world, would he have researched anything on vampires and like remedies, like to turning them back at all, or?
One hell of a history check.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd say the same, but from more the perspective of like sort of more along the lines of exorcism as well. I don't know if there's anything, if it is a prominent thing in history, sure, but I don't think Ellen Way's ever she's never exercised anything. She's never ever dealt with a vampire firsthand. But is there any way outside of like a remove curse that could help the son?
Potentially.
Yeah.
But again, one hell of a history check.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother.
I will give myself. I'll take the 8-ball out and see if it helps. I'll shake it, and it says, "Ponder on lost information," and I'll read out I'll do the history check and add a 1d4.
Incredible. DC's 25.
Oops. Roll.
Well, you can't lose.
Can't lose.
26.
The ball tells you that for something dead to live, it must die again. Specifically, there are ways of doing it. There are ways of curing vampirism. It's not easy. True resurrection, wish, these are both effective.
Put him down and bring him back again.
Yeah, it seems so. He kind of fingers his notes, and I don't think any normal way of doing it, though. If we kill him and bring him back by small means, so just a resurrection or healing, then I assume he would return to his fair state. But we'd have to have a lot of power to bring him back for true resurrection. That's the only way I think there is.
Well, since vampires were such a big deal in our last world, do we know of classic vampire weaknesses?
Oh, yeah, sunlight. Right? You know? Yeah.
Well,
Running
good
water.
luck.
Is it running water one?
Silver?
Potentially, yeah, silver, garlic, holy water, cutting their heads off, grave earth,
Killing them?
bats, wolves, all of these things, but sunlight is is the central theme.
Anton, you said something that this may be another of the Taroka places, right?
It's a loose fit, but all the criteria are here, I think. Perhaps the basement may be worth a quick
Second
look.
look.
I because we were searching for. Oh, sorry, I better not metagame here. I just want to read the tarot card before I say this. It's good. This sort of sunlight. Okay, so I did say it. I was working last night on a pair of goggles that can sense magical particles and disturbances in the weave. I can put them on for a little bit, and it can tell me if there's anything in the area. Maybe I could find
Anything
it that
magical?
way. Yes, so to speak. Senses the
Yeah.
disturbances in the weave, altercations.
That could certainly work, I believe.
Priest man, you got anything strange, a token of some sort that you're not familiar with in your house?
I have some books that have proven very difficult to decipher and understand.
Really? Well, where'd you get them from?
Oh, I do believe that they were left here by the priest before me, Father Weisenhower.
Can I have a look at them?
Weisenhower?
Yes, of course.
What was the name of the previous priest in Slumberhaven?
Not that.
Okay, I was just double checking. Paranoid,
Absolutely.
Worth a check.
So
Especially
the
Sorry, you go.
yeah, no, the other rooms within this place include a dirty, lightless bedroom filled with a straw-filled mattress. This holy symbol of the sun looks like something similar to the holy symbol of Ravenkind is hanging above the headboard. Another dirty room with a wooden bed, straw-filled mattress. Got a little small table with an oil lamp burning, almost run out of oil. And again, sun-shaped holy symbol above the bed. The trapdoor that you went down, a mouldy room, broken shingles, puddles of water, heavy trapdoor, chain and padlock. Even now you can hear the man screaming, pleading for blood down below. An office. The office has an old desk and chair, a wooden holy symbol, sunburst. 10-foot long iron rod attached to the north wall stands here, suggesting there used to be a tapestry once upon a time, but no such tapestry hangs there now. On the far wall, a wooden cabinet, 4 doors. He opens these doors. There are a few sheets of blank parchment, a couple of quill pens, some dried up ink, and a wooden cabinet. Within, he opens that, a tinderbox, candles, and 2 books. One of them is familiar to Alanway, Hymns to the Dawn, a series of chants, songs that you might sing in honor of the morning lord, of the sun. But the book that you asked about, that he passes on to you, is a curious tome called The Blade of Truth, The Uses of Logic in the War Against Diabolus Heresies as Fought by the Ulmus Inquisition.
Logic of the war against
I
Diabolic
assume
heresies.
that takes up the entire cover.
Yeah, it does. It's a strange book, and it kind of mixes logic exercises with lurid descriptions of fiend-worshipping cults. So it's part mathematic textbook, part occult history. Yeah, and it's all kind of weird.
It's pretty much Artificer's alley, really.
I guess so.
Yeah. I'll have a quick flick through it for now. Not a very detailed read, but a quick flick through to see if there's any information that what I find that really sticks out at the foremost.
Yeah, make an investigation roll, perhaps.
Okay. I get my 8-ball out again.
Sure.
Slash 1d4 roll.
It
17.
talks about an event called the Grand Conjunction, which would suggest the shifting of several worlds, a kind of thinning of the gauntlet that holds different worlds at bay, and so yeah, it talks of an event at which several worlds will merge more or less into one, or transpose each other, losing parts of each other and gaining parts, and so on and so forth. I suppose that's kind of interesting, kind of relevant.
Would you say Dugovic could kind of associate that with the fact that for some reason Slumberhaven kind of the fog invaded Slumberhaven, maybe losing that part of the world into this part of the world and subsidizing it?
Yeah, it's potentially accurate. Yeah, it would be a fitting description of what happened to Slumberhaven.
I guess Dukovic should kind of like say that to the group, like wide-eyed and kind of really happy that he's starting to understand this place, and he seems a little bit more at ease now that there's a scientific quotation marks explanation for what happened.
Yeah, it is somewhat scientific. The boundaries between the worlds have weakened, and you've fallen through the way someone might fall through an open window. That's entirely possible.
Do you mind if I keep this to study it further? I could bring it back.
He's already walked out the room, gone back to the altar, and begun supplicating himself in the knowledge that this supplication will bring a cure.
I'll pocket the book.
Should we
I think it
go
might.
back in the basement and have a double check?
Elenway, what type of resurrection spells do you know?
Resurrection is beyond me, Djukovic. I don't. I'm not capable of something like that.
Well then, for now, I think that there's no way to help the poor boy.
Aye, but if it is the place that the Taroka deck is describing, maybe there's another key here.
Right. Would you like me to use my glasses now? I have maybe enough for. I could probably use the spell for. Sorry, I don't know how long this lasts for.
10 minutes if it's detect magic.
Yeah, it is just detect magic. So that's about 10 minutes I can use it for before the battery goes flat.
Well, don't know what a battery is, but
Oh, it's an electrical current that passes through.
that's like a stomach, right?
Yes, and it chews up the food in the stomach to make the thing work. And he gives you like a ball. Here, play with this.
I put it in my pocket.
It's like just a plain metal ball that I use for some of my tinkering. There's nothing interesting about it.
Check it later. Yeah, let's get down there and check it out, because the only two places, probably, that anything could be hidden in this place, it's pretty run down. Maybe under that altar, or in the altar, and in this basement.
Alright.
And it seems that whatever these fated items that we're looking for, whoever is in current possession of them maybe isn't even aware of it themselves. Madame Eva didn't even recognize the thing.
That is very true. Alright, get the glasses out. So he digs in his pack and gets these really weird looking glasses that have multiple lenses that all go over each other, and they're all different colors. And he puts
Colors
them
of
on,
magic.
and he hooks up like a little battery, like a little battery pack on the side of his head to it. It's pretty big and really untechnologically advanced, but it works. And he puts them on and activates it and casts detect magic. And it's within a 30 feet radius.
You go down into the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go down in the basement. After I checked this top floor quickly, I'd go down in the basement.
There's nothing in the top floor. Nothing special.
Keep your holy symbol. Oh, can you pass us your old one so we can scare him away doubly?
Aye, you can have this one. It's just like a little small golden sort of amulet.
A regular amulet.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll hand it back in a second.
No worries.
Hail, strange traveler! I, I'm starving. Can you help me?
I'll
David keeps,
No.
keep.
keeps walking around and changing his lenses and colors and stuff.
You smell so good.
You will stay there, creature. You will not approach.
Please, just a little. You barely notice any scan. I won't hurt you.
That symbol again kind of comes up. I won't activate it, but I'll keep it there.
I promise. I won't hurt you. Just a little. Just please. Just.
Duke, do you need much longer here?
Nothing comes up. Nothing's here. Maybe I should quickly go into the graveyard and see if there's anything there while this lasts.
Can I check the walls to see if there's any cubbies or anything?
Yeah, you have advantage on any investigation rolls as you start digging
go
around.
Peer around. I'm probably too caught up in trying to keep this fellow in the corner, so I'm not gonna bother.
22 and an 18.
I guess
No
I'll,
such thing.
There's nothing down here.
I'm gonna head to the graveyard for the rest of the time I've got left. Maybe something's out there.
Please, have mercy.
You lose a hand if you come any closer, man.
You'll be fine tomorrow. But I'll still be hungry.
Move.
Just grab a handful of dirt and throw it at him.
Upstairs now. Let's move.
I
Djokovic.
don't need
That
to
trapdoor shut.
tease the thing anymore.
Djokovic runs out to knowing he's on a time limit. He runs out to the graveyards and tries to hurry around and use up all his time. Well,
Alright. The cemetery has a fence made of wrought iron. It's got a rusty gate enclosing a rectangular plot of land behind the dilapidated church. There are a lot of gravestones in a very small area, tightly packed in. And their names are shrouded by fog. The names of souls long past. It's very quiet.
Well, the madness part of the reading sort of fits with the place, but I guess the sickness and the children crying sort of doesn't fit.
I mean,
True. It felt silly not investigating it though.
The child is sick and he is crying.
He's not really a child. He's getting there.
He's the priest's child.
We should
These
look
are the
look more into this and into the town as a whole rather than just the church. This is
Indeed.
one instance of sickness and madness, but whether the rest of the town is afflicted. remains to be
priest, is
seen.
he the only vampire in town?
I am not sure. There are things that stalk through the night, but they are kept out by the blessing of the sun. The church is safe. The church is safe, saved by the blessing of the god. Prayer is what keeps the darkness at bay. Prayer and piety.
Alright.
You go into the cemetery and you're having a look around. And given that the range of the goggles is only 30 feet, it means that you have to scour through the rather large cemetery manually. And a theme begins to develop on the headstones. Many people died of consumption or of sleeping sickness, or died in birth, whether baby or mother, died of grief. these gravestones are the same sort of gravestones you'd see in any cemetery. Nothing particularly unusual about it. But this person died storming Castle Ravenloft. That one died storming Castle Ravenloft. Storming Castle Ravenloft, and so on and so forth. The names of dwarves, the names of elves, the names of humans, of genasi, of stranger races, stranger peoples from stranger lands. Grave upon grave upon grave, with a very, very similar epitaph. They died storming Castle Ravenloft. The years vary. The years, in fact, span literal centuries. From the years 500 to the year 750. And they usually are in clusters of somewhere between 3 and 7 people. And they died storming Castle Ravenloft.
Is there any names of the people we knew from that had gone missing from Slumberhaven in there?
Curiously, no. Whether that is reassuring or not, only you can answer.
It's never reassuring. Find anything, Dukovic?
But there is one name that you recognize. Nordica.
Excuse me?
Nordica is the name of the angel,
Yeah.
the demigod back home, and she perished storming Castle Ravenloft with 5 companions.
Does Dukovic see anything around their graves?
Negative. There is a lingering necromantic taint, but I don't think that will shock you.
Yeah, no.
Well, there's nothing here. Maybe we should go find the mayor of the town. Someone a little bit more sane than this priest.
Yes.
I don't think we're liable to find many sane people around here.
I guess Dukovic would keep looking until his time ran out, and then he'd stow the glasses and agree to move on. He doesn't want to waste his time he spent into this.
It's the middle of the day.
I'm gonna light a stick of incense and leave my old holy symbol at the grave of Nordica.
Wonderful.
Let's take care not to get caught outside the church at night.
Why do you want to sleep above this vampire?
Would you prefer to sleep with the vampires?
You make a point?
He said they prowl the town at night but don't go into the church. I assume it's consecrated ground.
Well, hope so.
If it's daytime and no one's out, it would suggest that would be the case.
Can't say I have much faith in consecrated ground that houses a vampire already.
My thoughts exactly.
I guess he's not strong enough to get out, so maybe he's dampening his powers.
Whatever the case, we can find somewhere to sleep somewhere, I'm sure. Otherwise, the whole town would be dead by now.
Have we seen anyone that's not?
There are a few fellas walking in the mist just before.
Shapes, figures.
Is there
people?
the smell of cooked food on the air at all?
Ever.
No, just dampness.
Then again, there's not really much direct sunlight in this place anyway, like at any time.
Never.
So there's not much really. There's no like vampires can be out day and night, so doesn't matter if day or night.
Why don't we stroll back through town and see if there's Maybe someone a bit more with it that we could speak to.
I would. At some point, I would like to go back to that forge as well after we're done with everything else.
You know how when we entered, you said there was like a wailing in the town? Was that from here?
Yeah. No. So, you're right. I did say that there was a wailing, and that sound seems to continue. Wailing is probably sobbing. Wailing occasionally, it does rise. Sounds of grief, at least. In addition to that, there is some sound of life. You hear the clinking of glasses that carries in the otherwise very still and quiet air. And somewhere far to the south, you hear hammering, frantic hammering.
Well, where to now? What do you think?
Well,
Hammering, wailing, no glasses.
we should maybe look for a store of some kind. We need to buy some more supplies for the road if we're going to be traveling to Valaki and Krisk.
Krensk.
Krinsk, yeah.
Maybe they have a map too. Let us be walking then. Who's moving the token?
Yeah, I can. So we'll go out the front again, I guess.
Beautiful.
And then I guess where do we go? Where are we going?
Someone slams their door shut and pulls their windows closed.
Let's look for a store. That's what Elenway wanted, right?
Oh, we don't have to. We don't have to go now. We can go at any point. We're here now. The day is ours.
Well, probably the first thing is try to find someone sane.
Yeah,
S-
perhaps we should just make for the center of town.
Whoever's making the most noise is probably the least,
Crazy.
well, maybe not. Maybe not the second most noise is probably the least crazy.
Sure. The door that just slammed shut. Did I happen to glance if they saw us and then slammed their door shut and went inside, or is it just happened of a coincidence that they slammed their door shut as we were coming out?
You didn't see it, but it probably is more than a coincidence because shortly after the door slams shut, the blinds open slightly. But when you start looking, those blinds quickly shut.
Okay.
No, I'm sick of this. Hey, I'm gonna walk up to that door, knock on it.
Okay. Move us over towards it.
There's initially no answer.
Angrily pace up and just bang, bang, bang.
Roll a d20.
Hand goes straight to the door.
There is someone moving around inside. They seem to be bumping the furniture as they go.
I know you're in there. We're not from around here. We just want some directions.
A table scrapes across the floor as if whoever's walking in there just couldn't be bothered to move it out of the way.
I think they're barricading the door.
I was gonna say it sounds like they're barricading it. Okay.
Is there any other windows around on the house?
Yeah, there are.
Can I try and have us peek through?
Yeah, make a perception check at disadvantage.
Perception. There it is. Yeah, 5.
You don't see anything, but there's an awful smell coming from within there.
This in the
Is it
same building?
Rotting corpses smell, or?
Could be, yeah, like a dead dog maybe.
Ooh.
Did someone say they detected necromancy in that graveyard?
Yeah, there was a touch of old necrotic taint on the few of the people that were in the graves.
No graves were dug up though.
No.
No, there wasn't.
maybe
Do we force our way in?
No,
Or just leave
no.
them?
Well,
They very clearly want nothing to do with us.
Alright. It seems odd that I can smell the stench of death in there, but
probably best to
think
follow the source of noise. Maybe
Hi.
not everyone wants to talk to us.
alright. We can move on then towards the sound.
Alright, yeah, go ahead, Dukovic. You can move the token.
I'll just stop every periodically, so if you want me to stop me, just say whenever.
They're 20 feet distances.
Yeah, you're able to freely walk 120 feet without the risk of encounter. And now that you've come to the center of town, the dead center of town, if you prefer.
Huh.
Yeah. So there is a general store to the south called Bildrath's Mercantile. And there is an inn or a tavern to the north called the Blood on the Vine. Neither of them look particularly inviting.
Does there seem to be much business going through either building?
No, none going through the general store. However, it is open. So at least the sign says it is. And there are a handful of people in the tavern. You can hear the clinking of glass as the bartender or waiter cleans one glass and puts it aside with the others.
Can we hear where that hammering is coming from too? Is that like the general store or a smithy?
It's coming from further towards the south, which is where the sobbing, the wailing, is also coming from. The wailing another 100 feet away, and the hammering seems to be coming all the way down from the largest building in town, which looks almost identical to the mayor's building back in Thunderhaven.
You think that's the mayor's place?
Looks like it.
Looks like our one.
Well, do we want to stop off in the tavern first?
Drinking again.
Well, I got no money to drink, unfortunately.
Oh.
Unless they trade hangman's nooses here.
I think we might have a little. I'll just double check that.
I could trade my
D&D Beyond.
trade my silverware that I got.
Yeah, I have this this golden ankh that I want to palm off as well. I'm a little short on gold, so hopefully the general store will take it off my hands.
I have 5 gold pieces left. Home.
Well, let's go to the general store if you've got any junk that needs emptying. And
Alright.
maybe we can find something of use there.
We might have a map there too.
I hope so. We go to the general store.
Decided.
Alright. We shall pursue that avenue next week.
Hey.
Very good.
Oof, actually perfect timing. 4:01.
Yeah.
And with that over, I'm now going to let everyone know that there is a trailer for The Mandalorian out now. The
Really?
Star Wars TV show. I just linked it in TV.
It's gonna be a
It's
TV
so
show.
fucking sick.
Awesome.
The what, sorry?
The
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. It's a